Hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's happening?
What's happening? What it is?
Yeah, man. How's the weekend?
It's another beautiful weekend. Got
Well, beautiful weekend. Yeah, can't complain, man. Can't complain, man. I went downstairs Sunday morning. My oldest daughter was here doing my her youngest sister's hair. I mean, they're both grown women, but they're doing their hair. Yeah, that's why when I hear black women say they can't do their hair, I say, get out of here. They both got 4C hair. I should have took a picture of them, man. They got so much hair on their head. I have to take a paternity test. Because I said, how are they my kids, man? If they didn't have my nose, I'd be thinking outside. If lucky for their mother, they don't look like me, man. But not too much. But so they were over this Sunday, and I was about to, I was going to cook some Sunday dinner, and I cooked a lamb stew. For those of us who still eat a little bit of red meat, oh, that shit was so good. I had all the trimmings in there, so they just happened. So they sat around the table, and the wife came home. She was oohing and ahhing later on, So I take pictures of it. I posted it on my website on Marriage, Politics, and Sports. I always take still pictures of how I prepare those things and throw them up there. So I have plenty of meal things that I've done over the years. Anyway, man, so how's the chat? I see Anissa got started even before we got. I mean, she got her licks in already because Trump hired some 22-year-old in some counterterrorism position, and of course, we're at war now, so we got another conversation to get into. So let's go ahead and get started. What do you think, man, about the recent events?
Ooh, we. I think these recent events definitely, what I'm saying, got a lot of booty holes tight. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are puckered up right now. You feel me? But we are still a country, and we got to hold each other down, right, wrong, or indifferent, and then talk about it in the back chat. You know what I'm saying? We got to talk about it in the back chat.
No, I agree. First of all, I didn't want to see America get involved in this at all, and because I know how it's escalated. It's the same playbook that happened with Iraq, right? So these things have a tendency to escalate, and then we're going to go through, of course, I got some clips and stuff like that, and I'm trying to go daisy chain from how we should look at this. And the thing about the people on the Trump side of the house, and a lot of people don't realize it varies. We all don't think, most people, I'm not a mega guy, right? MAGA, the real Trump supporters. However, I would have picked him 10 days from Sunday over Kamala Harris, but I have reasons why. But I don't agree with all the things, but I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But if you go to the left, those guys are so narrow-minded in the way they think that no matter what is good or bad or indifferent, as long as you hate Trump, that's all you need. So I don't think that's the way to be. So anyhow, so we can get into it a little bit, unless you have something else to, because I have a few clips. I'm not going to listen to them. Of course, we're not going to go through the whole clips, but I have this young guy that I like to propel out there, and how he looked at the start of the war, and some of the things that he said, which I thought was pretty good. He's a young dude. He's a conservative, and I think, hey man, I like this guy. So let's go ahead and get started. Unless you have something else you want to say first.
Oh no, let's go ahead and check it out. Let's check it out.
Here you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. The United States has dropped bunker buster bombs on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. I'm not going to string you guys along. Let's jump right into it and read the post from Donald Trump 30 minutes ago announcing these attacks. He writes, "We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on the way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter." He follows that up with another post saying, I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m. at the White House regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is a historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. Now, I'll be live streaming his address to the nation, so make sure you guys tune in.
Yeah, Trey, it's clickbait. You know, it's clickbait for the thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Trump just called it a war himself. But I know we're not officially a congressional approval war, of course not. But it can certainly get there.
Around then, but let's take a look at some of the responses across X regarding this news. Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania says, as long as I've maintained this was the correct move by POTUS. Iran is the world's leading sponsor of terrorism and cannot have nuclear capabilities. I'm grateful for and salute the finest military in the world. And he is 100% right. Whether you agree or disagree with Donald Trump doing this, we should all take a moment and be thankful no soldiers were injured in this.
Let me stop a little bit here. John Fetterman is a Democrat, and he's one of the lone and only Democrats who says what he thinks without trying to follow the cabal. You know, I hate Trump, so no matter what he does, I'm against it. Now, whether you like this move or not, he's one Democrat who's speaking out. There's another one later on that's really will surprise you.
Was a successful operation, but obviously not everybody is agreeing with this decision, even Republicans. Thomas Massey posts, this is not constitutional. Now, I don't claim to be a constitutional scholar, but the powers of declaring war are with Congress. However, the president is the commander-in-chief and does have the authority to act decisively and greenlight military operations. This is the same kind of absurdity that comes from the left when they say Donald Trump can't declare that an invasion happened on the southern border. It has to be decided by judges. Well, if that's the case, what would happen if 10,000 Mexican troops crossed the border into the United States? Would the president be able to declare that an invasion, or would he have to get approval from 400 federal judges? We all know the president, as commander-in-chief, has the authority to direct the military. And we all know that selective strikes are not the same thing as a full-out declaration of war on another sovereign nation. Now, Thomas Massey has been very outspoken about Trump's big, beautiful bill, so it's kind of par for the course that he's taking this position. Charlie Kirk posts, with the weight of the world on his shoulders, President Trump acted for the betterment of humanity. For the next few hours, spare us the armchair quarterbacking and instead trust our commander-in-chief. And I'm in the same boat. I had said that I thought the best course of action was for the United States to send a couple of B-2 bombers and drop these bunker busters. In the midst of an impossible situation, there was never going to be a course of action that was going to be perfect, that was going to be without fault, that was going to be without downside.
100. Did you hear how those bunker busters work?
I have a vague understanding of it.
Yeah. I mean,
But they still them some motherfuckers.
yeah, exactly. Actually, it's like an art imitating life or life imitating art. If you saw the recent Top Gun, they had a couple of busters where you have one missile hit a target, go down before it explodes, it penetrates, then explodes. They say these go down almost 200 feet before they explode. Then you hit another one at the exact same location, and it goes down even further, right? Maybe the same amount of distance before it explodes. So you can't even hide in the deepest mountain. Now, they drop all the ordnance. I don't know how many precision, and the precision is how do you hit the same spot? You know, so that's the sophistication of these weapons.
But man, we have these weapon systems for a reason, and America just be wanting to stretch her legs and see if she still got it every now and then.
There it is.
But I believed when I voted for Donald Trump, and I still believe to this day, he genuinely has America's best interest at heart. And if he foresaw a situation that would drag America into a prolonged Middle East war in a large-scale capacity, and he saw this as the best way of eliminating that possibility, I can completely understand his decision. Just to give you a bit of context on how truly divided.
Yeah, my man Brandon, but is he really leading the charge, or is he following the lead of Benjamin Netanyahu? Is he being led because of the money that APEC is giving all our politicians to get us involved in the first place. We can't really separate ourselves from the guys who were the protagonists of this war in the beginning. You got something to say on that? 100.
Like hearing people in these conversations, it feels like that is always the first thing that people run to, and I'm tired of that being part of the argument. Like,
okay, all right.
And I'm not saying that it doesn't matter, because it does play a part. Like money does influence people to do a lot of shit, but it's like everybody is following the money. So if everybody's doing it, how do you point it out on one side versus not the other? You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right, so you're saying that well, everybody's saying it, but doesn't mean the influence is any bigger than we're making it out to be.
I mean, because how do you really believe that everybody's not getting paid by the same person? Because it's just, at some point, it's like, how do you not believe that everybody's getting paid by the same person?
They are getting paid by the same people, APEC. And that's why this is maybe not the actual strike, but on both sides of the aisle, they are controlled. That I can say they all take money from the same central location. Let's put it that way.
So
okay. So if it wasn't be Trump, it would have been somebody else. So I don't know. And he say Israel has been our ally, and we've been their biggest benefactors since they were so-called formed. Right. So anyway, they plowed the field and we finished it off, I guess, for now. But we're going to talk about the retaliations that began.
Conflicted people are about this. Here is Van Jones on CNN saying Trump should definitely strike Iran.
He's buying himself some time in some room. I was also in the Holy Land very recently. I think progressives underestimate how dangerous Iran is. Iran is not a normal country. Normal countries don't blind women because they showed some hair. They don't empower little gangs and proxies to surround the country and fire rockets and rape people. So Iran, the two things are clear. The what, they cannot have a bomb, and the why, because they say death to America, death to Israel, and death to all the Jews. One of those should offend you if you're progressives. At least one should offend you. And so the question, though, is the who and the how. Is Israel going to take out this nuclear capacity by dropping people there who blow it up? Or is America going to take it out by dropping a bomb that blows it up? But the what and the why are clear, and I think progressives should get on board with that. We cannot have a nuclear-armed Iran. I was in the region. You were in the region. This is a very dangerous power that cannot get a nuclear weapon.
So despite
that is Van Jones. You can't be a more pansy-ass Democrat liberal than Van Jones. And he was for this.
Despite the desire from the part of MAGA that didn't want to see us involved in this conflict in any way, it's certainly revealing when someone as partisan as Van Jones is openly advocating for Donald Trump to take this course of action, because he understands that the Iranian regime is psychotic, is murderous, and cannot be allowed under any circumstances to have a nuclear bomb. Now, where do we go from here? Only time will tell. But these next few days, I want everybody who's watching this to just be aware of their surroundings. We all know that thousands of bad actors crossed Biden's open border. And while the nuclear facilities may be destroyed, while the nuclear program and Iran's nuclear aspirations went up in smoke, the Ayatollah, a radical Islamic terrorist, still leads the country. They can still activate sleeper cells in the US. They can still greenlight their terror proxies to restart attacks. And most concerning, they probably still have missile capability that puts American bases in the Middle East in potential harm's way. So while none of us can predict the future and we don't have a crystal ball to tell us how this will play out, I think all of us should be praying for our military, praying for the country, and be optimistic that this decisiveness by Donald Trump will bring an end to this war and usher in peace. Now,
all right, so let me just stop him. I know he's going to say something good there, but the truth of the matter is, we're dealing with people who I don't understand. We might want to be decisive But if you just blew up half of my shit, I don't know whether how decisive you want to be is going to make that much difference. If you call me a crazy man for years and you say I'm doing all this kind of stuff, why would I stop? Being a thorn in your side just because you blew up my nuclear shit, right? I'm going to plan B. Well, here's this thing. Yeah, go ahead. Trump is lying about the. Yeah, I was going to get to that. We were going to talk about it right now. I'm glad you brought it up, Trey. I think first of all, there's no doubt that Netanyahu wants regime change. And then, of course, Trump came out and said, well, we're not really thinking about it. We didn't want to take out the Ayatollah. And I think there's reasons for that. But then he came back out and said, well, why not, have regime change? And then
regime change is a prerequisite for American involvement. Once there's an understanding that America is involved, it 9 times out of 10 comes with a regime change. Like that, there's no surprise in that shit whatsoever at all.
Because go ahead, finish.
Yeah, most of the time, whenever America decide that they're gonna get involved, it's because they want to stop whatever is happening and get rid of whoever's there to put in who America wants. That's how that goes.
Yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about it. Because guess what? Your boy Trump, I say your boy, but Trump just came out with another tweet, right? After he says, no regime change. Oh, well, you know what? By the way, another thought, wouldn't it be a good thing if this guy wasn't in charge? And then he says, MIGA, MAGA, right? Kind of a play on make Iran great again, or is it make Israel great again? Right? So he's playing on word. He's just, man, the guy's like a big clown up there having a good time throwing out these tweets. I'm just saying, sometimes maybe just shut up for a second, all right? But now
Trump reminds me sometimes of the person that got a degree but didn't get a job in the degree that they got. Like Trump is a marketing genius that ended up president. Like this motherfucker is the greatest marketer ever in the world.
Yeah, you know what? He actually is pretty good at it, man. So I'm finished with my man Brandon, but we got some other things I want to kind of just go ahead and say. Listen, so I think it's really regime change. But, I want to show a little clip of, his little press conference, then what the Secretary of Defense talked about. And then, of course, some other sundry news now that we're I call it at war. I mean, I know it's not, but the Iranians are not going to just lay down because we blew up a couple of their facilities. That doesn't even make sense to me, So stay tuned for a second. All right, so this is it? Yeah, this is it.
Sirens have sounded once again in Tel Aviv as the full ramifications of Donald Trump's strikes on Iran continue to be felt across the region. The IDF says a fresh wave of missiles have been launched by Iran towards Israel. Iran and Israel have traded missiles ever since the US conducted those strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. The B-2 bombers used in the attacks have now landed back home. President Trump is warning Iran not to retaliate against the US, saying any future strikes will use even greater force.
Yeah. They attacked in the dead of night. These pictures from Isfahan capture the sight and sound of the US assault on Iranian nuclear sites. It was the biggest decision of Donald Trump's presidency so far, and his biggest gamble. They called it Operation Midnight Hammer,
Yeah, they got these nice things. Okay, he said it was his biggest gamble. What do you think they're gambling, 100? What do you think the gamble is?
The gamble here, Iran already has a history of connecting with countries that we've already been fucking with. So the gamble here is if Iran can get a couple of them, Afghanistan, if it can get Iraq to attach with them, then that makes this so much more difficult. Because, like you said, this escalates quickly. The gamble here is as soon as you open this fucking door, everything's very possibly going to roll so quickly that this is going to get dangerous fast.
Yeah, somebody floated. You're right, and somebody floated. That's one thing. The other, the gamble I think that is most prevalent to me, besides just the war, is that the other planks that my man Trump said he was trying to fulfill. You need at least all 4 years to get those things through. And so if this thing goes south, right, and he loses the midterms, both the House and the Senate, the next 2 years, the last 2 years, they'll be talking about impeaching him. That's number one. We won't get no business done. That's two. And the thing that's more depressing to me is that we'll be giving the country back to the freaks. We'll be going right back to the freaks, man, talking about cutting off genitals from children, all this bullshit that was going on before, men becoming effeminate, men and girls sports, wiggling their Johnsons and women's in the locker room, getting canceled for, saying the wrong thing. We'll be right back there because he wanted to go blow this shit up, man. I think he's getting rid of. I think he put all the shit that he said on the line. He also said no new wars.
In terms, oh snap, my fault. In terms of what you're speaking on, yes, that's, oh my goodness, that gamble there. But just seeing the upside of that, I could the gamble there. I see the upside in that and how that could go the other way of what you just said, and that is just as scary as well. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like a lot of times when we have these conversations, we're talking about two totally different extremes here. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about World War III versus the freaks.
Okay. Think about that, though. Think about what you just said. World War III, which is from the outside in, or the freaks destroying a country from the inside out. Pick your poison. We could actually put a shield up and work against World War III, but the destruction from inside is how all major regimes fall. Right? I mean, I just saw. I'm gonna be quick. I just saw a special on Baltimore County, not just the city, but the whole county, and there's people online actually renting out people's property and putting squatters in there, and the governor, the mayor, the police, everybody's powerless. Say they're powerless to do anything about it. Oh, it's a civil matter, and people are taking years to get their property back instead of being decisive and saying this is bullshit. Now, if I try to rent out a property to you, right, and if I don't own it, that has to be a crime in and itself. But my thing is, and here's the point, that these are liberal Democrats who run that state and that city. And there's a whole bunch of bleeding heart assholes who think, well, I'm worrying about the squatters. These are the kind of people who take control again. I mean, it's just crazy. So that's the gamble I see. And maybe I'm being short-sighted because loss of life has got to be the worst thing in the world. And I'm going to get to that because we already lost some soldiers.
In the Situation Room. This was how it looked on Saturday night. This was how it sounded on Sunday morning in a Pentagon briefing.
It was an incredible and overwhelming success. The order we received from our commander-in-chief was focused, it was powerful, and it was clear. We devastated the Iranian nuclear program.
New details reveal the U.S. deception plan that had sent B-2 bombers flying west as decoys, while the B-2s involved flew east towards Iran, with bunker buster bombs primed and ready. As the president made a Saturday night return to the White House, 7 B-2 bombers had Iranian nuclear facilities in their sights. They included Fordo. It's believed to be Iran's main nuclear enrichment site, deep underneath a mountain. MOP bombs, massive ordnance penetrators, were deployed here. Other locations were hit at Naranz and Isfahan. U.S. nuclear submarines fired Tomahawk missiles.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
The president spoke of total obliteration. His top military man revised that downwards, pending full damage assessment.
All three sites sustained extremely severe damage and destruction. More than 125 U.S. aircraft participated in this mission, including B-2 stealth bombers, multiple flights of fourth and fifth generation fighters, dozens and dozens of air refueling tankers, a guided missile submarine, and a full array of intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance aircraft.
After the strike, the Americans said this was about peace and ending Iran's ambitions to build a nuclear bomb. Nothing more.
But our view has been very clear that we don't want a regime change. We do not want to protract this or build this out any more than it's already been built out. We want to end their nuclear program, and then we want to talk to the Iranians about a long-term settlement here.
All right, so let me just stop it right there, because right after Vance said that, that's when my man came out with his tweet saying, you know, why not regime change? But here's another thing we just found out, 100. That they're not sure that enriched uranium was at the site when they blew it up. They have an inclination that Iran moved it before the attack. You know what I'm saying? And so here's the deal. Now they're kind of, if you listen closely, they're trying to say, well, without their facilities, they can't get that up to weapons grade, right? So, and that might be true. But if they didn't see, here's a couple of things. You can't have it both ways. I don't think you could blow up enriched uranium without having some nuclear fallout.
Look, man, this is what I'm saying. These countries are not as stupid as the media is trying to make them seem, man.
That's where we are. This shit ain't over. What I'm saying, it's not over. This is not, it's far from over. You know, so there you have it.
My brainwashing is telling me that this is nowhere near over.
No, it's not. It is not. And so there's already been some travesty and some death of American soldiers. And I was saying to myself that, you know, if one American dies, then we're on a path that we may never come back from. And I think we're already there. Not, you know, but it has to be some kind of travesty that people can get. So there's 3 soldiers who died in the first retaliation. Let's go take a look at who these soldiers are.
Service members killed. Sergeant William Jerome Rivers had ties to New Jersey. Fox 5's Michelle Ross joins us live in studio with more on the soldiers who were killed and what experts are saying about whether this attack will escalate the conflict in the region. Michelle.
That's right, Steve and Natasha. Since the Israel-Hamas war began on October 7th, there have been more than 150 attacks on American military installations by Iranian-backed militias in Syria and Iraq. Sunday's attack, though, was the first to target American troops in Jordan, and the first with American troops killed.
The 3 American troops who were killed in an overnight drone strike at a U.S. military outpost in Jordan have been identified. 46-year-old Sergeant William Rivers of Carrollton, Georgia, 24-year-old Specialist Kennedy Sanders of Waycross, Georgia, and 23-year-old Specialist Brianna Moffitt of Savannah.
All right. I gotta let them stay up there for a second. All right. 3 soldiers, 2 under 25. They're not only black, those 2 ladies, those are females. Right now you could look at this both ways. I look at it differently. You know, we'll probably have some of the detractors. This kind of stuff just reinforces my position that black people need to realize that everything that America has to offer, we're entitled to pursue. And I say it that way, not entitlement, but we're entitled to pursue. Whether we get there, whether we get the things we want, that's up to our own efforts, right? So when people keep trying to tell us that we're not first-class citizens of this country, I push back on that, because here's 3 people who gave their lives for this country, and they didn't make one decision to do that other than join the military. We know what? And that's part of it. You know what I'm saying? So there's a reserve unit. They were deployed out there, and they were in harm's way. So what do you think about that? What do you think about that, 100? What's your thoughts about that?
My thinking is that it is only going to take one major event where soldiers and people get killed to where it's going to start changing the mind of a lot of people. I think that they signed up for this. I mean, it's part of the gig.
That's part of the gig.
It's always unfortunate when you see it. What I think is happening though is there are people who may have already served and may have separated, who are watching this transpire and are thinking about getting back in, for the fact that there are a lot of people that are in the service right now that are not ready for this.
I'm gonna get to that one too.
So, I'm trying not to say too much because I know you are slow. Like I'm looking at it, I know you are slow walker. So I'm not trying to say too much. But
no, you can. It doesn't matter. There's no real order to it, but yeah, it's on the docket. That's for sure.
Right here is exactly why I know that this is going to get bad very fast. This happened in Jordan, so it's not necessarily in the area where we need it to be at. And the closer you get to Iran with shit like this, I'm telling.
Well, here's the thing. That I'm thinking. Okay, so Jordan is kind of like neutral territory, right? We have a base there, but Jordan kind of stays out of all the fights and all that kind of stuff. But if the missiles could reach everywhere, Iran's missiles could reach where there's American soldiers, they're gonna fly them there. However many they have left. So
I will say that I think that Iran, because they sent missiles at Qatar, an American base in Qatar or something like that.
That's just sure they did. They sure did.
I do think that was a calculated response, right? I think they chose that base particularly because they knew that we only had a low number of troops there. There was also a warning that was given out with enough time for a certain evacuation to happen. Like, I do believe that was a calculated response to look. This shit about to get killed. This is about to get wild very fast. Like loss of life is gonna make this crazy very fast.
But and it's like and we say about the I don't know what the makeup of that particular location where they are, but when you see that all three are black, it must be a concentration of black soldiers out there. Because just the law of averages, I would just say, but it's really something.
Georgia.
Yeah,
No
that's
Blue Star
where I would
family
agree
ever
with
wants to
Trey.
become a Gold Star family, and sadly, there are now 3 more families on that roster.
The drone strike happened at a U.S. post known as Tower 22, an army base in Jordan near the Syrian border. The enemy drone was mistaken for an American drone, expected to return to the base at the same time. Former senior U.S. counterterrorism official Javed Ali explaining how this could have happened in an interview on the 6 o'clock news.
It's not surprising that it got mistaken for a friendly drone because the U.S. military is also flying these surveillance drones where we have our troops stationed, and it could have been launched at night too, making the visual observation even harder. And these drones are not like conventional military aircraft. They don't have insignia of the government that's flying them.
Officials pointing fingers at Iran-backed militant groups in Syria and Iraq.
All right, so we know there'll be some back groups, but I'm not necessarily just buying. I know it might have been a mistake. But if you're sending out a certain amount of drones, right, each one of them should have some kind, I don't know if they're just willy-nilly or have some kind of flight pattern. So you should know which one you calling back and which ones you not, right? So if you have 10, 20 drones out there and you see it, you should have the whole field covered. Now you see one that has nobody in control of it.
Again,
right?
from a brainwashing perspective, this sounds like the rules of engagement in these areas is so fucking it's so restrictive. Like, how do you no, that wasn't a mistake. That was not a mistake. I feel like this probably one of them situations where somebody probably called for authorization to take down the drone and was told not to do it, and then it ended up being like, oh my
You
god.
think they would sacrifice the soldiers like that? I mean, well, I'm not. I mean, that's conspiracy theory out there, ain't it?
I mean, it might be a conspiracy, but just like strategically speaking, like the rules of engagement have to be so restrained. Because I agree with you, if it is an American drone that we're sending out, there has to be some sort of identification marker for us to be able to know that it's ours. If I see this drone and it doesn't have any of my markers, I should be able to take this down. But the rules of engagement had somebody called for authorization to take this down, and they were told no. That's just immediately where my brain goes to when I hear.
I'm hearing you, man. Well, so there's been some American blood spilled in this event. And to tell you the truth, I haven't heard as much of it on the news as I thought it would be.
Of course, because they don't know. Yeah, because they don't want you. Now that I'm thinking about it, now this is they don't because somebody fucked up somewhere. That's why it's not on the news, because somebody fucked up. Because if it was exactly what they wanted it to be, I promise you, everybody wearing them red hats will be standing on this right now, even with them being black people. Because now at that point, now people wearing the red hats have the ability to lean back on black people to say, see, we need to defend our country. You know what I'm saying? Somebody fucked up here.
I hear you. Listen, I'm just saying, listen, my whole thing is I didn't like this bombing in the first place. It's a thing. And also a lot of people said that Trump said he would give them 2 weeks. But if you really listen to the words, especially from the press conference lady, my girl, Caroline Levitt, he said he will let them know within 2 weeks. And this, people might say there's no distinction there, but he didn't go against his word. He said, I'll give you, within 2 weeks, I'll let you know. But you only really have a day and a half. You really only have a day and a half. You know what I'm saying? And he can't call him a liar. No, so the point really is he said he was in negotiations with them while he's plotting to blow the hell out of their nuclear facilities. Here's a couple of things. One, America says no matter what they say, we can't believe them and we can't trust them. Right? That's what they say. No matter what they say, no matter how they negotiate, they're feeling that no matter what they say, they're going to be lying. And the reason why America is so sure about that is because we lie our ass off too. Right? I mean, that's one of the reasons why we don't want them to have a bomb. You know why? Because people can always make an excuse to use it.
Yeah.
And we proved all of that.
Look, fam, any country that's gonna have their little parliament or government meetings and they're gonna stand in the middle of their meeting and burn one of our flags, like this is their government organization that is burning our flag and chanting death to America. I wouldn't trust them either. I would not trust you either.
Of course not. And we've been in a secret war with them for the last 4 decades.
I don't give a fuck what you say to my face. I know what you do when you in the room with your homies, dog. Nah, bro.
Listen. You know what? Listen. Trump had like 10 things on his list that I agree with. And I agree with no new wars. He went back on his word. I mean, nobody's perfect, but the other shit I'm down with. Get the illegals out there. Hey, how are you raising your Mexican flag there, Anissa, for the illegal aliens? You want them to stay spending your tax money, getting free everything, or telling you that they hate you because you're just a dumb N-word not there protesting for them? And we got 3 soldiers dead, and they're flying their flags out in California. How do you feel about that?
So, just a hypothetical question: if he said no new wars, right? Who's to say that he's doing anything different than when he was 45? When he was president 45, some of what he's saying right now is exactly what he was saying when he was 45. So is this anything new? Is this?
Well, he
anything
didn't start any new wars when he was 45. He tried to use that as a betting. He did try to use that as a betting. He didn't start any new wars.
I mean, I hear you. I'm not saying that I don't disagree. I'm just asking the question because I did watch some of the videos that he, some of the speeches that he was making during his first term, and a lot of it was, I don't trust Iran. I tried negotiating with him.
Oh yeah, he's been saying that.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. And he was right. He was saying that before he was even president. But all right, so what's going on, Trey? Throw your 2 cents in the mix, man.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, nobody wants to see war. But I'd be hard pressed for anybody to find me a time in humanity when we weren't at a war. So, sort of kind of what countries do, they fight. They've been doing it since the dawn of time. As a matter of fact, marriage was one of the ways to kind of quell these wars. I'll give you my daughter. If you don't overtake us, if you don't, So I mean, this is nothing new.
No chance for peace now, huh?
Now nobody wants was Ivana. Nobody wants
yeah,
her, so, we in trouble. But at the end of the day, like I've said before, you got to figure out how this works for you. Now I'm in a much different position now in my life than I was during the Iraq War because, well, I was suited up and I was traveling overseas to go, right? So I'm in a different position now. Being 40, I realize that this is an incredible financial opportunity for a lot of people, and there's a lot of guys out here who don't realize that, but it's a lot of money to be made doing wars. Companies like Halliburton and Lockheed Martin and Boeing are going to make a ton of fucking money behind this stuff, and you should too. That's really what you should be paying for. Yeah. A lot of American things are going to make a lot of money. This is an opportunity for you to pay attention and figure out where you fit in, because trust me, all of Trump's homeboys finna get richer than what they already are. We people don't realize that. What was Bush's guy? The guy that shot the vice president shot the guy. What was his name?
Cheney.
Cheney made a lot of money off that Iraq war. He made a lot of money off that Iraq war because his companies were some of the services that were over there, like when you get your laundry and stuff like that done. He was a part. He had those companies.
Enron.
A part of those companies. Yeah.
Enron. He was involved in Enron story. Yep, that big scandal there.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, the CEO supposedly committed suicide, and they dropped the case. You know what I'm saying? And the widow and everybody kept the money because they dropped the case.
And to Anissa's statement, show me a war that didn't have a lot of fuck ups. Desert Storm had fuck ups.
Oh yeah.
Show me a war. World War I, World War II. You think everything? Yeah. Anybody who's actually ever been in a combat area or combat zone will tell you nothing really goes according to plan. That's why there's contingencies and backup plans for the plan, and then there's a plan for that plan. There's always something, because if something's going to go wrong. It's like with this drone situation. I agree with 100. I pretty much believe somebody probably did notice the drone, and there are ROEs over there, and you got to wait until somebody says, yeah, it's okay for you to do that. And that authorization probably never came. By the time it did come, it was too late, and guys, and unfortunately, guys were dead. Listen, this is a part of war. Unfortunately, soldiers are going to pass away. It's the worst part of it. Nobody likes it. Nobody wants to see it, but that is just the way that it goes. I am interested to see if a draft is going to come. That's what I'm most curious about, because I want to see the Gen Zers and the millennials freak out. I want to see them freak out.
But you gotta stay tuned. I got something for you. You gotta stay tuned.
I can't wait to see these flat-chested, bird-chested ass dudes get called up and say, you're going to go fight. I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see them react.
Hey, what's going on, chat? What's happening, man? Hey, tell them, man. Things go wrong you're a boxer. Things go wrong in the ring. You throw that lazy left hook or that lazy jab.
Hey, man. Listen, Listen, man, I just came to check the temperature over here.
What temperature you checking,
I
man?
came to check the temperature. You know what I'm saying?
This is thermometer or some
I
shit
came
like
to check
that.
I came to check the temperature, man. That's it. I just came to
Look,
see.
if it's too hot, I'll go get some ice. I'll go get some ice.
Before you check the temperature, what's your opinion of what's going on, man? So let's see if we need to check your temperature. God damn it!
Hold on, man. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can hear a little bit better with these. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah. You got to give us your thoughts, man. Give us your thoughts on what's going on.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, bet. Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, I feel like I'm trying to still figure out, really what's going on. Why is America supporting like Benjamin Netanyahu so hard? You know what I mean? And I know like a lot of our politicians are kind of like tied in to him or their in their country from what I have learned from just checking out some content from I was watching Candace Owens and she was questioning like why, and then Anton he made some content earlier, I believe, or yesterday, where he was like, yo, like nobody has been able to explain to me to where I can actually understand why we're supporting Israel so hard. You know what I'm saying? And so for the reason why I'm like, yo, the reason why I'm checking temperature, because I'm just like, bruh, this was one of the things that was touted too, right? The first time he was president, oh, like, nah, President Trump ain't had no new wars under him, and this, and we ain't lose no American soldiers, and we ain't lose no American lives under his whole watch, you know. And so now it's gonna be a whole bunch of people, you know what I'm saying, and no disrespect, of course, right? But Trey, Trey was in, and what he say? I mean, well, whenever you have wars, it's gonna be loss of life, which is absolutely true. But when people were voting President Trump back in, everybody was like, "Well, we ain't lose no Americans, and we ain't lose no lives." And now it's gonna be like,
You're being a little disingenuous though, because
I'm not
people.
being disingenuous.
I'm telling you. Let me tell you why for a second. You go back. Because that's not why I voted for him. I voted for him mostly on the immigration thing. I did that. But hold on. So we had a pecking order of stuff. I voted on that. I voted on the two sexes. I voted on a lot of other stuff. But the no new wars, it was on the list. But it wasn't because I don't believe in no wars for either party. That's how because both parties are killers. Right? Both parties have us embroiled in these conflicts because of the military.
You live in a fantasy world.
Right, but it wasn't. I'm not even talking about you.
This idea that
I'm not even talking about
war.
you.
And at what point in time did I ever say that my vote for him had to do whether or not we go to war? And when did Donald Trump ever say that we weren't? Do you say it, Trey?
No,
did you not say Trey?
I said what you just said, but I wasn't talking about you. I was just talking.
And at what point in time did Donald Trump say we were never going to war? Did he guarantee?
He was only making reference to the statement you made about loss of life during war.
I was not talking about you directly.
To agree with it.
No, I wasn't talking about you directly, Trey. I was just saying that, and I wasn't talking about you directly either, Payne. I was saying that a lot of his supporters were saying, like, "Oh, well, we didn't have no new wars,
and we did not have blood."
That's all I was saying.
Because it was a fact.
So I was just trying.
There was no new wars.
I know, bro, and I'm just saying, I'm trying to see if those same people, like, how they're like, what are they saying now? Like, what's
so let me tell you what they're saying now. Let me tell you what they're saying now. Some of them, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example, as crazy as she is, she's opposed to the fact that he went over there. They are being vocal. The thing about the people on the right is that there's a lot of diversity of thought on the people on the right. A whole lot more than there is on the people who are Trump deranged on the left. There's like my way or the highway. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, every time I talk to a person who's like, or especially black women on the left, it's like if you don't believe in all the fuck shit that they believe in, they don't even want to talk to you no more. That's not right. I don't think that's the same as on the right, because I don't agree with all the shit that MAGA supporters are. I never bought a hat. But I would have voted for Trump 10 ways for Sunday than fucking Kamala Harris.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I have reasons for that.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, there's plenty of people on the right who disagree with what Trump did. Plenty.
What this is this is a failed attempt from majority of liberal thinkers or fake ass independents to try to get people to say, you still agree with him now? Do you still agree with him now?
I've seen
Yes, I
people
do.
who support him come out
I
and
think
say
that him going over there and doing it was the exact thing to do. People don't understand why we backed Israel. Probably because they've been our ally for 77 years. It probably has something to do with it. Since 1948, they've been our ally. So who did you think we were going to back?
But they're talking about Benjamin Netanyahu, period. They're saying that a lot of our politicians are actually paid off by Benjamin Netanyahu or
what
like
politician
organizations.
isn't paid off?
That's
because
bro,
he's
like
the only,
Trey, I'm not
the
Trey,
only
I'm not
reason.
saying I'm
Yeah,
asking
no,
questions, bro, for clarity.
the only reason that to be, I found that to be the only reason that is the case is because he's the current person in charge. Because I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of people are getting paid. People are getting paid by all of the countries they're allies of. Like all of the countries that have an embassy. All of the countries that have an embassy here in the United States is paying somebody in our government right now.
Hey, look though. I guess so. The reason why, damn, it made me lose my thought. The reason I think the reason why I was asking this, right, is just because number one, I just wanted to know, and then number two, yes, like I feel like a lot of their push though, I think that Candace Owens has like a valid point. Like a lot of their push coming from Israel right now is about anti-Semitism. And so that's why a lot of people are wondering why, yeah, like we may be allies with them, but a lot of their push is about anti-Semitism. And I just seen that case with the immigrant student had got temporarily like dismissed because they were like, yo, like if we infringe on his rights, there's no telling if we're gonna infringe on, if that's gonna carry over to Americans' free speech about,
it would.
whatever people
It
consider
would. But
anti-Semitism gone.
Let's not go down that hill too far because, to me, all of these back and forth with the courts and all that exercises our system of government, I think that's a good thing. I really like the fact that there's checks and balances. Now, I believe that the district courts have gone too far with these nationwide injunctions, and that's going to get fixed soon when the Supreme Court actually rules on this birthright citizenship. I think that might get rolled in with that, and that's coming down in a while. But we'll see what that is. But just a Dark Blake, thanks for whatever you did, man. But if you gave the Cash App somewhere else or whatever, man, we still appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So somebody
at the end of the day, what does that have to do with Iran?
I mean,
we've had a problem with Iran for how many decades?
For decades.
Which was
decades.
what I was about.
They don't like us. And at the end of the day,
a lot of countries don't like America.
Is Iran with nuclear capabilities a threat to America? Yes.
That's
the
any
answer
country.
Yes.
Any country with nuclear weapons is a threat to
No. You can't normalize that.
Korea.
You just said any. Well, champ, you said any country. It's not true.
Come on, man. You know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of countries that don't. There's a lot of countries that don't. There's a lot of countries that don't like America.
Hold on for a second, champ. Listen, the point really is that everybody with a nuclear weapon has a certain level of threat, and everybody with a nuclear weapon wants to be able to come to the table and bargain just like everybody else because they got a nuke. But Iran is a special case enemy. They will use their nuke. They will. I mean, there's no incentive for them not to because they already said so many times that they want to destroy America, right? So if we could stop you from getting a nuke, now Korea has their own crazy shit, and maybe they shouldn't have had maybe they should have never been able to get a nuke, but that's not the problem for today. They got one, right? And they haven't used it, but you know what? South Korea is under constant threat. So I mean, so let's move back on. I do have another video I want to show because this is the one where they going into Qatar.
I've been to Al Udeid in the past before and seen this huge control room where drones, aircraft are monitored and controlled. And it's possible that the attacks against Iran were orchestrated from here. We know that President Trump and the National Security Council are due to meet. They're also acutely aware of these threats. Our colleague Kira Phillips quoting a defense official saying that they don't behave like this unless the threat itself is credible. We had multiple threats, multiple warnings from Iran that they would indeed retaliate to the US strikes on 3 nuclear facilities. The latest one came from the Iranian president probably only about 40 or 45 minutes ago. He's not a key decision maker. The Ayatollah is in normal circumstances, but these are abnormal circumstances. But again, warning that there would be retaliation. Remember, President Trump and Defense Secretary Hegseth have made it very clear that if there is any kind of retaliation from Iran, that would lead to an even greater response from the United States. But there is precedent here. Remember the former head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, General Soleimani. He was assassinated back in 2020 under the first President Trump's first term in office. I was in northern Iraq when Iran responded. They fired at US bases near where we were in Erbil in the north of the country. They fired at US bases elsewhere in the country and on the border near Syria as well. So they have form, if you like. Now, that was a calibrated response. It was one for Iran to say, look, we did respond, but no further. It allowed for a de-escalation. I'm not sure we're in the same territory right now, especially given the very specific threats that the President Trump has made against any of what would happen in the eventuality of any retaliation. But the facts are, there was this threat, there was airspace was closed, and the Israelis also monitoring the situation. There are reports, we have a colleague whose sister lives in Doha, reports of hearing explosions, but we're in this very foggy situation at the moment. We just need to take a breath and look at what possibly could have happened and wait until we get facts issued from the Pentagon and from the White House and potentially from Qatari officials.
He looks a little like he doesn't mind a nice little ale from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Let me see if they have this kind of fast forward. I saw some let me see.
Closer to Iran, though, we did imagine that they'd be striking into places like Iraq with the Ain al-Assad
I had some
base
bombs
here,
in the
which
air.
has been a target for Iraqi militia time and time again, allied to Iran. There are some 40,000 US troops all across this region, some in those bigger bases in the Gulf, but others at much smaller outposts.
All right, so Qatar's under attack. So let me get back with you guys here. Some of those lights going out, I believe, is them those intercepts. So any, so hey, listen, they're retaliating against the targets within their reach. I haven't looked at any news lately, but I'm sure it's going to be all over the place. What's the escalation point? How do we think it's going to escalate? Now, somebody floated out that they're going to try to get a nuke from China, not from China, from Russia. There's no way Russia is going to give this guy a nuclear weapon. It's just not going to happen. First of all, does that make any kind of sense? Anybody want to chime in on even the rumor of that? Can you see anybody giving these guys a nuclear weapon?
That is the extreme in terms of retaliation. My brainwashing is telling me that a better reaction is something like a Cowboys game or a concert or something like that. These public spaces, because look, I'm telling you, look, loss of life, Trey, like Trey said, loss of life during war is just like something that comes with it. And when you playing around with a country like this that has sleeper cells, their retaliation is going to be fucking with us here. because American arrogance is going to have people walking around thinking that you can't get touched. And I think that, like we were talking about earlier, like the breaking point or the event that would have to happen for this thing to switch, that's going to be the one. I'm telling you, right? If something like that happens, I'm telling you, that's going to be the one that turn all of this shit from fun in the game, fun and games, into a whole nother conversation.
Anybody else on that one?
Ain't nobody giving no fucking look to these people.
I mean, in Colorado, this you seen what happened at the airport here?
No. Go ahead.
So at the Denver airport, a lady was talking about, them there being sleeper cells here and all of this type of stuff like that. She was talking about there was going to be a terrorist attack, and then in like a shopping area here in Denver, guy went and started setting people on fire, like the very next day, within like 12 hours or something like that. So yeah, it's
I
crazy.
haven't heard about that. Was that after the bombing?
It was it was after the bombing. Yeah. And it is, I don't know, man. I guess this whole thing is just crazy to me. So, you know what I'm saying? Of course I know, I've been living a long time. We had these different wars all throughout history and everything like that, and throughout my lifetime. So, you know what I'm saying? I know that things are inevitable or whatever the case may be, like shit's gonna happen, but it's just crazy to see, I guess. Yeah, it's just crazy to see right now.
Well, listen, but Champ said it. I'm not Champ, but 100 said it. Listen, those so-called sleeper cells that they're talking about now, if there's these asymmetric warfare where they can get at us from just going to the soft targets, that can derail all the shit that he's got going on. All that stuff that he wants to implement, that can change sentiment real fast. And Alyssa keeps getting on the fact that he hired this 22-year-old to somehow be in the anti-terrorism workforce. But he hired this guy, what they call for the Center of Preventative Programmed Partnership, whatever the hell that is. It was one of those USAID groups that I think was being decommissioned, right? So that guy's not in charge of any real
bullshit position.
Yeah, it was a bullshit position. What you gonna say, Champ?
Let me say this, because I didn't get the chance to answer your question. The fact is that absolutely Russia could give them a nuke if that's what they choose to do. Depends on what mood Putin is in. Which day did you catch him? Is this a day where he's not friendly with Trump? Is this a day he is friendly with Trump? What type of Russia are we getting? Absolutely. Here's the thing. I think that you are not you specifically, but anybody in America right now, if you think that there's rules to this, you're crazy. There's no rules right now. Sleeper cells. I'm not getting on a plane until this is over. It's like this is where we're at right now, and you better believe that large public gatherings are a target, are going to be a target. You better believe aircrafts are going to be a target. You better believe cruise liners are going to be a target. Anything that's going to have a large gathering where it could be an impact, where they make an impact, you better believe it's going to be a target. If I were you, U.S. and American, I would be on high alert. I'm in the DMV area. I'm on high alert. It's a lot going on down here in this part of the world. A lot of laws are getting made down here in this part of the world. So this idea that you're gonna be able to sit back and chill and they got it and we got a good military. Well, if I were the Ayatollah, I would try to have America eat itself from within. That's how I would attack. I wouldn't worry about attacking from the air and the skies. I would have the sleeper cells attack from the inside and have America turn on itself. That's what I would do. Because then you're gonna have people. You got half the country that like Trump and half the country don't like Trump anyway. So you're already halfway there. You just got to get the other half to turn on themselves. If it were me. But this idea that Iran wasn't going to retaliate, of course they're going to retaliate. Who doesn't think they're going to retaliate? Of course they're going to. And here's the thing. Again, there is no rules to this. Just because they retaliate once, don't mean they won't keep going. Doesn't mean like, oh, it's not tit for tat. Like, oh, you hit me, I hit you back. Like, they're going to keep going until they feel as though their mission or whatever Allah told them to do, it has been fulfilled. That's how they're going to work. So if you've never been in these types of situations, you've never been around wartime situations, you never had to change your defense status or your defense posture or anything like this, well, this is a good time to learn how the world really actually works when two countries really don't like each other and have military powers. This is what can happen.
I heard they were. I mean, and this could be a rumor, but I did hear that they were getting some backing from China.
Well, yes,
So where China was sending, we're gonna send them weapons, or already started sending them weapons to make sure that they could defend themselves. That's what.
China is one of their largest oil consumers.
Right.
So of course China's going to back Iran, which poses another problem. Have we not been having issues with tariffs with China?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to say, like people got to wake up. Like this can get nasty. This can get really.
It's already nasty.
Y'all seen the Tucker Carlson thing?
We beefing with a lot of people right now.
Y'all seen the Tucker Carlson thing, right?
Yes, with my man Cruz.
And how he was like he couldn't tell them, like, what I'm saying, like he couldn't run down some key information if you're going to be talking about war against somebody and all that.
Well, some of it was superficial, but some of it I understand where he was coming from. I think he was a little over the top, but still, I didn't see the whole complete interview. But I know what you're talking about.
Candace ripped his ass apart. I'm becoming a Candace Owens fan.
I've been a Candace Owens fan, but here's what
she on her turncoat now. No, it was all good. It was all good 6 months ago. She turncoat now.
Well,
she turned heel like quick.
But at least she honest. She said she still support him. She just said, I'm gonna call out the shit I see.
Well, she has the most problem with Israel than anything else.
Right.
But here's what we're talking about China, and we're talking about the Straits of Hormuz.
Security policy and author of When China Attacks, Colonel Grant Newsham. Colonel, good morning to you. Thank you for hopping on with us. So China has responded to this already. They've condemned this attack, says it damages Washington's credibility, and are concerned that the situation may spiral out of control. So that's what they're saying publicly. But behind closed doors, what conversations are really taking place when it comes to decision making in key areas of interest, including potential aggression towards Taiwan?
Well, what they're looking at is this big change that's happened in the United States. Suddenly you have a president who has some backbone and did what needed to be done for the first time in 45 years when he attacked Iran. The Iranians have been at war with us for 45 years, 46 actually. They've killed some thousands of Americans, injured and maimed a lot more, and nobody ever did anything other than to send them pallets of cash and try to negotiate a deal. And here you had someone that attacked them. So China was looking at Taiwan also and thinking, maybe the Americans aren't that serious. And this has raised some doubts in China's calculus when it comes to Taiwan, when they look at what's just happened in Iran. But of course, we have to see how this plays out, because China has been very happy to have the Americans occupied in the Middle East. That means you can't pay as much attention to the Western Pacific, to Taiwan.
That's a great point on how this could go one way or the other. And before this strike, Colonel, there were reports of Chinese cargo flights nearing Iranian airspace. What do you think that was all about?
Well, it could be. There's always things that we don't know about that happen. They were certainly flying things into Russia at the start of the Ukraine war, and the administration hushed it all up. So that is a possibility. But the bigger issue is that China has been the main backer of Iran for decades. And that includes providing a lot of money, a lot of weapons that the Iranians have given to Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis as well. And now China actually buys 90% of Iran's oil. So that's about 20% of Iran's GDP. And that's the real issue here, is the amount of support that China has given to Iran, and used Iran really as a cat's paw, as a proxy to attack America's friends in the region, to cause chaos. And that, to the Chinese perspective, that works to their advantage. Now we have to wonder, are we going to cut off Iran's oil exports and force the Chinese to go buy oil elsewhere?
Well, that's a great question, Colonel, because yesterday Iran's parliament did approve a plan to close the Strait of Hormuz, which would block $1 billion of oil shipments per day. This is Iranian retaliation, but like you said, this would impact China far more than it would the United States. So here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday. Watch this.
Do you expect Iran to move to close the Strait of Hormuz to try to disrupt oil transportation across the world?
Well, I encourage the Chinese government in Beijing to call them about that because they heavily depend on the Straits of Hormuz for their oil. If they do that, it'll be another terrible mistake. It's economic suicide for them if they do it. And we retain options to deal with that.
So does China do that? Do they call Iran and say, do not close the Strait of Hormuz?
They might, or they might say just let Chinese ships through like they've done in the Red Sea with the Houthis. So that is a possibility. But closing off the Straits of Hormuz is actually harder than you might think. It's been tried before back in the 80s, and the Iranians couldn't pull it off. But that would require more of a commitment by U.S. forces.
All right, so we know that that's one strategic location that the Iran has, but they would be cutting off their nose to spite their face if they close the straits. And if you didn't know what the straits are, it separates the Indian Ocean from the Gulf of the Persian Gulf, right? So it's like a passage, almost like the Panama Canal kind of thing, right? So a lot of things have to, a lot of oil companies funnel through there. So they really, and that's how they get their shit out to the world too. So I don't know if they're going to go there. They'll be, they may have a revolution if they cut that out because they wouldn't be able to feed their people. You know, so I think they'll leave that alone. And of course, China, you know, they would just go elsewhere if they had to for oil. So Trey, based on not just that, I did ask you a question. I don't know if you got it. What do you think this is going to? I know you just said a little bit about the markets, but were you surprised that the markets was at least green after the first blow was sent, and no panic in the market? No,
because I think the institutional investors trust Donald Trump.
Okay.
And whether we like it or whether we agree with it or not, I do, and I think today was a really good sign that institutional investors, they trust his decisions. The Dow, S&P, and the NASDAQ were all up. Tesla was up 8% today, and a few more things were up today. So I mean, obviously, the beauty of this is that we'll have to find out over time. There's a whole week to go, you know, and to keep going. So we'll find out what, you know, the institutional investors could feel differently tomorrow morning. at 9:30, they can feel completely different tomorrow morning. But
right.
As for today being that first real, you know, opening bell based
after
on
the weekend, right?
After the weekend and after the news of because what I also expected our pain is when the news of the retaliation came out. I was like, ooh, I actually started bought a few puts thinking this might go the other way, and it didn't. It didn't go the other way. It actually stayed. The market kind of stayed the course. And I think I think overall, I think the large, and when I say institutional, I mean billions of dollars. Institutional investors.
Well, yeah, but you know, the other thing on that, I'll cut you off a little bit, but we've been through a whole lot of wars, and over all our wars, the market over the years has been up, has been going up. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And so that's why I put in the chat. If you're not investing in a wartime market, you are missing out. Because typically during war times, markets have a tendency to increase or rise or reach new highs. Now, it may not be an overall market, but certain sectors like energy and defense, we already know what they're going to do. And tech, we know what they're going to do. So if you're not investing in these, and this is why I say war, we have to. I like to follow the money, but there's a lot of different ways to follow the money. You also got to follow the money on Trump's friends, because like I said, he's going to make them richer than what they already are. Because war makes people rich. People get rich off of war. Go back and do your homework after World War I and World War II. How many people were better off after the war than they were before the war?
Right. It's amazing.
Go look at it. I mean, this is an opportunity. Yeah.
Anybody else have anything on that? I do want to show y'all a clip of the readiness of our soldiers. You know,
Oh,
I
man.
can't wait.
Let's take a look at that one. Oh man.
Jesus Lord. Jesus Lord.
At this point, if we get a surprise tonight, fuck 'em. I'm ready. Cause Trump don't know when to shut the fuck up. Iran don't even give a fuck about what we talking about. They don't care if we like them or not. They just want to get their lick back. So at this point, I love y'all. See y'all on the other side. See y'all on the other side.
Of course the news is out. Trump made up his mind. Remember, he said within 2 weeks he would decide to attack Iran or not. By now, we all know what happened, and everyone is reacting across social media. You got one gang on the left, another gang on the right, and a whole bunch of people in the middle hoping to stay out of the crossfire. Then you have people willing to mind their own business, but still said they're standing on business too if Iran try to pop up over here.
What going on, Iran?
Hello, how are you today?
Man, little twin, I'm just saying, I'm on Twitter, and I come across y'all little tweet to my everybody gonna feel it. What we supposed to feel, little twin?
You calling about the smoke?
No, I'm trying to see that. I'm trying to see you say everybody gonna feel it. I feel like I'm part of everybody. So what we supposed to feel, little twin?
So hostile. Relax.
No, I'm just saying, I ain't Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? I ain't with none of that wolf. I ain't giving you no time. I'm just gonna strike some. For real.
Just drop a missile if that's what you want.
Drop a missile? What? Drop it in. Drop you, bro. Listen to me. Listen to me. I got 100,000 right hands wrecked out. All them pills, switches locked and loaded, ready to blow it.
Listen, I do not care.
You don't care?
No, not one bit.
Bet. You don't care? I'm on the way. No, we on the way. We on the way.
Come on, outside.
Be out. No, drop that missile. Drop that missile. I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on it.
Everybody talking about going to war and sending threats, baby. Who are you going to send? The millennials? Them are children. Gen Z, they're TikToking on the battlefield. Who the are you going to send? Like when I was little, we were in Iraq war for like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. Them was grown ass men. The women too, grown ass men. I'm talking
the women grown ass men
fighting for their country. You're trying to send millennials, baby. We are children. We're kids. Who are you gonna send? You don't have nobody to send.
Truth is, they don't have nobody to send. Feminism broke down all the men and the simps went along with it. Now they're just out here dancing, making TikTok videos. Like who? And millennials are supposed to be the new adults now, but both millennials and Gen Z, we gotta be honest, I just can't see it. We're in trouble if we gotta depend on the TikTok dancing people. I mean, they're out here line dancing, having a good time, getting their checks to get their bills paid, but they didn't expect to have to go to war for real.
Party, yes, I crank it every day. Haters getting mad, I got me some money.
Make a tap out. Hey, what's your favorite cadence?
240, bravo.
What? And what's next?
Cocked and loaded.
Oh. What's your favorite cadence, bro?
My favorite? I'll tell you my least favorite.
All right.
1, 2, PT for you. 3, 4, PT some more.
Hey, what's your favorite cadence?
I don't know why I left, but I left on my own. Hold on, what's that?
What's your favorite cadence? Your mother was home when you left. Your daddy was home when you left. Your sister was home when you left. Your brother was home when you left. Your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, the dog, the cat, the fish, the rat, your aunt, your uncle, and brother, your cousins, they all was home when you left. And that's the reason you left. Hey, what's your favorite cadence?
So come on over.
So come on over.
The war's not over.
The war's not over.
So put your weapon next to mine.
Hold on. And wish. All right, yo, we back with you, bro. What's your favorite cadence? Sailors at war. Sailors at war.
Keep going.
Late at night when you sleeping, all these seas come roving all around.
All right. What's your favorite cadence?
Here we go again. Here we go again. Same old song again. Same old song again.
All right, Harris, what's your favorite cadence?
I shot Insurgent One.
Okay.
I shot him just for fun.
Ooh.
So put your weapon next to mine
So
and we'll shoot him all
The
down
brainwashing is real, dog. Hey, yo, Munoz, what's your favorite cadence?
I got you, bro.
All right, wait, what you doing with the phone, though? Okay, Munoz.
I ain't finna quit. I'm finna quit. I ain't finna be doing this now. I took this job. I took this job. I took this job thinking you would never have to do nothing. Really, like security guard, they always just be chilling. So I'm thinking I get the chills.
All right, staff son, all right.
One more, man. One more.
Take the damn iPad out your kids' hands. At this point, you putting me at risk. The hell, the kids out there, they already practicing as toddlers to do what they gonna do to us, and our kids stuck trying to figure out the Wi-Fi password. Like, no, y'all being selfish. I get you've been working all day, and the kid, you want to get an iPad, you don't want to pay attention to them. But no, it's time for you to go snatch that damn iPad, because you see what they doing. You see what they ready for. You got preparing your kid for the future. The next 20 years, the whole world gonna be different because of iPads. And I blame you, weak ass parents. And I'm looking at you directly with your dumb ass.
Oh my gosh. What's up with the scar?
That is like it's my own
Let me
thing.
introduce you to somebody. Captain Miles. Candidate, what are you doing? Stand at the position of attention, candidate. Do it. Head and eyes straight forward, candidate. Do it. Head and eyes straight forward. Stand still, candidate. That is not part of the uniform, candidate. You need to take that off.
This outfit is too matchy as it is, and so I was just trying to break it up with some simple horizontal lines.
I don't think American leaders and like our military realize that if we actually got into a war with like Iran or anyone and they have to like draft people under the age of 26, like you're not getting like a good lot. Like that's not going to be a good fighting lot. Like this isn't the 30s or 40s. Like you're getting a 22-year-old with like Fortnite knuckles and like vape scarring on his lungs. Like dude's not going to be ready to go toe to toe in the front lines with some Russian drunk dude. Like, I don't know. So just fair warning for our military. Like you're drafting, you know, a losing army, like more than likely.
Oh man, that shit was just. Oh man, Jesus!
All right. Firstly, I want to say that that video, though funny, I think like some of what she was saying, I don't like it because unless you've been on a ship or you've been in AIT or you've been in those big, you don't understand how important morale is. So those people that were on that ship doing that line dancing, you have no idea how important morale is. You have no idea how much goes into the daily process of doing your job, the training, the response training, just in case something happens, like all of the shit that goes on with being in those environments. You have no idea how important the morale is to, one, keep yourself sane, and two, actually have your team learn what needs to be learned. Like it is important for that training to actually fucking stick. So them having the freedom to have those moments where they get to do their line dancing on the ship, or somebody walk around with different, like they need that shit. I give a fuck what y'all talking about, especially if you actually are depending on these people to defend this country.
I agree that.
No, 100 watts, you are spot on with this. What people don't realize is that in the military, you have a ton of downtime, like a ton of it. Especially when you're getting ready to deploy. You see those guys sitting around, sitting on their rucks. There's a lot of downtime. And oftentimes what you do is you do wild, crazy, funny things for morale. And also it's a part of team building. It's a team building concept too, because you have to remember you are a unit when you deploy to these locations. So yeah, you're seeing a bunch of silliness, but it's in their downtime. None of this is being shown while they were actually, doing missions or doing operations. This is when they're just hanging out, and there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. We did the same thing when I was in. The only difference was there was nobody running around with an iPhone to put in your face while you were doing it the entire time and post it to TikTok. But we had fun. We played cards. We mimicked and mocked our sergeants, and we did all the same stuff because there is a ton of downtime. Here's my one thing. I think that people think that war today is like it was back in World War I and World War II, where we're going to storm the beaches of Normandy and all that type of shit. That's not going to happen. That's not how it's done these days, right? So this idea of, oh, well, you're going to get these softies. Yes, you are going to have some, but that's not the strategy anymore. That's not how it really works. Most of the time, these wars are won in the air prior to the boots on the ground. The boots on the ground go in after all the stuff in the air has been done, where they start to target critical infrastructure and things of that nature. Go look at the Iraq War. What's one of the first things they started to do? They started to take out all the critical infrastructure from the air first, and then I believe it's the Marines. The Marines moved in first, right? That's how they do it. So this idea that you need the biggest, baddest, strongest, toughest, for the SEALs and for the Deltas, you know what I mean? And yeah, for them, yeah, you absolutely do. But most of these guys are going to be standing a post. That's what they're going to be doing for 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours. They're going to be standing a post with a rifle in their hand. They're going to be doing that for a year and a half. So we have to understand war has changed in the last 100 years. It's not necessarily the same. But that video is so misleading. I could not agree with 100 watts any more than what he said. That video is so misleading because it would make you think that they're not prepared and that they're not training and they're not doing all the. I guarantee you they're prepared and they've been training. They've been doing everything they're supposed to do. That was the one. You caught them on a 120-minute smoke break that they had in between, in between training. And now it's like, oh, well, they're not prepared. I don't agree with that. I trust that our military leaders will have them trained and ready to go when the time is necessary.
Yeah. What about you, 100? I mean, Champ, you were in the service, right?
Yeah. I was in for 11 years.
So that struck you the same way then?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I think that them showing all that, because when I joined in 2002, a lot of people just thought the military was just this whole like, see, it's just always serious. Like it's never like no downtime. You gotta just do this. It's just straight training. Then you go to war and all this and all that. A lot of that she showed honestly is a recruiting tool. Like, you know what I'm saying? When people see these things now, because especially with our younger demographic now, that's their life. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, oh man, you can still be on TikTok, you can still have fun, you can still do these things, and you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna get the benefits. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of when we were in, I mean, I don't know when Trey and them joined, but of course, like we couldn't we couldn't have we couldn't even have cell phones. I was like I was in I was I came in as a combat engineer before I started boxing for the army. Like so we couldn't have cell phones. Like we had to use the pay phone if we wanted to call home. We like we took our cell phones to basic with us, and they put them gents in a bag, put them in a closet, locked them away, and nobody had access to them at all. We didn't get our stuff back until graduation day. And so, and I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people, like where I'm from, they're like, bro, how can you go to the military, bro? How can you do this, bro? Like y'all just be marching all day and doing it. Like, bro, listen, when we get some downtime, bro, we get downtime. Like we be chilling. Like it's just like any other job. Except that if some stuff crack off, you gonna be gone. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
yeah, but
That
yeah,
last guy was a full up skit. That last
Man.
guy.
yeah.
That was a full up skit, man.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that, man. I wanted to come through and show some love. Pain. I ain't been able to be on to come up on BMU lately, man.
All right, man.
But I'm gonna come back. I think I should be able to come come through on Friday and come say what's up to the fellas.
Good,
But
man. Good.
I gotta get ready to record these 2 videos real quick so I can drop these joints this week. But
All right.
yeah,
What
man.
you doing in reaction to what? Is it a secret or you going to shut
Nah,
it down?
one of them is you know the viral clip of the girl from she was on the Unquestionable podcast and she was talking about protecting your sons nowadays because the girl, one of her friends had told her about a one night stand that she had, and then when she was getting ready to get into a relationship about a year later, she started to have regrets about her having that, and so then she was like, I'm thinking if he, saved me." And the girl was like, "He ain't, like you told me about you pursued him and you went for this, you wanted that, like
Oh,
you
dude.
went for him." And so yeah, so just talking about the difference of making sure you prepare your sons, making sure they know that
Man.
know me, knowing all that good stuff. So that one, and then the second one, I think about the Joe Budden podcast where they were talking about how people go out dressed nowadays, like if they go to Walmart, Target, and all that airport. And
That was
so,
fun.
yeah, so just something to lighten the mood. But I always got some craziness going on the channel. So yeah, man.
That's cool. That's cool, man.
But yeah, but I'm gonna holler at y'all, man. And it's always good talking to y'all,
All
man.
right, man.
Even when Trey trying to come at me crazy, man.
Yeah. You're the one wanting some smoke. Anyway, man, I'll see you later, bro.
Yeah, man. I'll holler at y'all, boy.
All right, later.
In terms of the cell phone, so in terms of like the cell phone in the service thing, what I can promise you is because of OPSEC, whenever it is important, like them said, the cell phones are not going to be a factor. Like I'm going to say for 2 reasons, the cell phones are not going to be a factor because of OPSEC, and number 2, I'm thinking about if I'm in my uniform and I'm with my unit and we're doing a mission outside the wire and somebody in my truck pulls their phone out and starts recording, I promise you I'm gonna kick you in your fucking face. I promise you I'm gonna kick you in your fucking face. And if the squad leader find out that you got your phone while we outside the wire, like you're no. So that's not gonna be an issue. Like that's not gonna be a real issue for real. And I think that we do also have to give credit to like human conditioning. Once you train, like some of these people that we're talking about, once you give them the ability to train and be taught some of it, of course, there are going to be people that fall off. But you're going to find a nice percentage of people that will be able to do the basics of basically like what Trey said. I just need you to man this post and know how to aim and shoot your weapon. I just need you to have the basics. Just stand here, point, aim, and shoot. That's it. So then that's why you get back into the conversation of when I came in earlier and I was talking about some of the people that have prior served are talking about coming back in because now they want to be able to hold the position of doing the outside the wire missions or doing the actual let's get busy type of work because they don't want to leave it to the motherfucker that don't have any experience and don't have any need to be playing around with this. Because there are people that do not have the stomach to be doing some of what needs to be done in this shit. Like seeing the IED explode, everybody don't have the stomach for that. You know what I'm saying? So those that do have the stomach for it and want to put themselves in a position for it, I think it would be in the country's best interest for those people to take that role. So that's just my 2 cents on what we just watched today.
Yeah, sister says she has somebody. She half Persian. Interesting. She got a little dog in a fight there. Well, anyway, so listen, I just want to go down and just like, yeah, hey, listen, this is current events. We're going to all be impacted by this one way or the other. So that's why I wanted to put that up.
Yeah, but we've been through this enough times that you now have a choice in how you are impacted.
Yeah,
right. Like I was 19 when I joined the military. Right, I learned a lot from going to Iraq. Like you can choose how this impacts you, and which way this impacts you. I think that it's important that the kids understand this. That we don't, I've been talking to my son about it because in 2 years he'll be draft eligible, right? And so, I need to get him to understand this is real world shit. This is not. These aren't games. This isn't jokes, and this ain't Call of Duty. This is real world shit.
Mhm.
And going to
And they
unfortunately.
can. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And you were talking about wanting to see the draft happen, dog. They can still pull my number for a couple more years. I still got a couple more years on the table where they can pull my number. And
Yeah, I was laughing because I turned 40 this year, and so I think I'm certainly not in the first wave, and I don't think I'm in the second wave either. I'm definitely in the third wave. Once they get 40 plus, I'm in that wave for sure.
But even the first wave, though, right? If they get to the first wave of the draft, then what Trump had in mind absolutely failed.
Yeah, if he needs a draft, then this is a complete and utter failure.
Yes,
he shouldn't need a draft at all,
right?
But that doesn't mean that. Listen, one thing I've learned about Trump, he gonna dip his toe. He gonna dip his toe in the water regardless. He gonna say he gonna put it out there just to let y'all know. Hey, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about taking 18 to 26 year olds, just so you know. But my point in this is I think this is a great opportunity, especially for Black fathers, to have a real conversation about the way the world really operates. I think we have an understanding of how this country really operates. And this is a moment where the shit is hitting the fan. And if you look around, who are they looking at? They're looking at men.
Yes.
Looking at men. Shit's hitting the fan. They're looking for men. It doesn't mean that the women are not going to have a place, because they are going to have a place. Right? They going forward in these future conflicts, women are going to be a part of these conflicts. I don't know why they think they're not. You're going to be. I was in Iraq with women. They're going to be a part. You're going to be a part of this conflict.
Oh yeah,
they are. Why y'all think y'all not
with me?
Yeah, y'all be a part.
And that's why I don't understand why they ain't being drafted. They already all way up and down in the military, you know. And all.
Oh, don't worry. It takes one politician to get that whole thing changed. It takes just one. Take one politician to change that. But the point I'm trying to stress, this is a real opportunity if you have teenage kids to have a conversation with them about real world things that happen out here, and that everything ain't cushy. And we do not live in a goddamn Disney movie. It's not what we live in. This is real world stuff. And you could, or somebody you know might have to go overseas that you didn't think that they were going to go. Right? When I got my orders to go to Iraq, we were not up. They have like a little board, and it basically tells you when your rotation is coming. And my rotation was not for another year and a half. I woke up, I had orders in my inbox, in my email saying, suit up, it's time to go. Next thing you know, before I knew it, I was in Yuma, Arizona, and I was at Fort Worth, Texas. Training.
We got and mine's was almost the same way. Our rotation was about a year and a half away, and then we all got a all call. Everybody had to show up in Class A's at 6 a.m. the next morning, and then orders for and I'm talking about the entire squadron. Orders for the entire squadron for the next 3 years came down that day at 6 o'clock.
It happens fast. And I'm serious. RP, before I know it, I was in Kuwait. Before I know it, I was in Kuwait, waiting to transport. I was at
How about the plane? Is it a regular transport plane? Or
no, we took a C-130 the first time.
Okay.
First time I went out there, we took the C-130. The second time they did us the Air Force way. You know, we had a nice cushy. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. We had a nice cushy rotator.
We flew commercial to Germany and then figured it out from there.
Yeah, well, because you can't go into country in a commercial airline. If you're going into country, they're gonna put you on the military.
We went into Germany and then started moving around from there. They wanted to make sure we was comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Well rested. You feel good.
Let me tell y'all something about these military aircrafts. If you've never been on one, I'm gonna put it to you this way: they literally have the seats on pallets. They just roll the seats in and lock them in place. It's like sitting on a board for 14 hours. That's what it's like. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. I promise you. There's no climate control. There's no button for you to call a flight attendant. Hey, can I get a refill of my water? There's none of that. You know what everybody's doing? I'm gonna tell you some real shit. RP, you know what everybody's doing? Everybody's sleeping because you don't know when the next time you're gonna be able to go to sleep. The moment your boots hit ground, and there's an in processing stage, and then it's straight out. You're most times you're there to relieve another unit. Most times you're there to relieve another unit. So you got to go learn what they do really fast because they ready to go home. Remember, they've been there for months, years. In the Army and the Marines case, they've been there for years. They ready to go home, right? So they want to hurry up and come learn this shit so I can go home. You don't know when the next time you'll sleep. So everybody on that 130, knock the fuck out. I promise you. Trying to get some sleep.
That's crazy. Well, Ikane, man, what's going on, man?
Yeah. Man, nothing much. How you guys doing?
All right. So what did you see? What do you know about the topic? Have you been watching any of this? What?
No, I just saw you guys online. It says Trump declares war on Iran. Is that what you guys have?
Yeah. What you got about the topic?
Yeah, well, the war now they're looking for ceasefire.
Well,
they just announced. Trump just announced ceasefire between Israel and Iran, but they're still bombing. That's the breaking news. But the thing is, I'm just going to speak in general. If you can fight, don't throw punches first. That's what I got to say. If you know you can knock somebody out, right? Don't even throw punches. Because when you throw out punches and you don't knock them out, guess what? They come like a rolling beast. And they're going to hit you the fuck out, man. Like they're going to punch you. Like before you realize it, your two eyes are like, your eyeballs are coming out. How are you going to go throw punches to a country you don't even know the capacity or the capability of his military? And then when you throw out punches, you don't even have the firepower. The firepower is given to you all the way from America. You don't manufacture, you don't produce shit. And you're going to war with a country that manufactures and produces ammunition? What the hell is that? And they get bamboos destroyed. Look at this. Almost Jerusalem is wiped. Tel Aviv is almost wiped out, man.
Oh yeah.
Almost wiped out. Look at the bombing, man. It's like only 6 bombings took out a whole neighborhood. Gone.
No, I didn't see those pictures. Okay, so a lot of those bombs hit Tel Aviv, you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know what you guys been watching, man.
No, I mean, I haven't been watching. I mean, we've been online. A lot of this stuff. I know this last bombardment, I haven't been looking. So
no, the last bombardment is nothing. The first bombardment was the crazy one. The first day, the second day, the third day. Man, by the third day, almost like they knock out everything. On Thursday, right? They knocked out almost all but today's one was the bullshit. Like everything went dark because they hit the main power station that supplies Israel electricity. They knocked them out. When you can fight, don't throw the first punches. I know Coach Fed know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but Ekane, man, wait a minute. I know you have this thing against Israel. They did a lot of damage in Iran, though, right?
Well, hold on a minute. They did. Everybody's talking about that, but Iran is 75 times bigger.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, but the point.
So if you let the two of them go to war, right? By the time Iran can bomb one city in Israel, all the whole of Israel is gone. Israel is just the size of New Jersey, whereas Iran is half the size of the United States. Half the size, man.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they got 92 million people living there. I know that.
And they got 92 million people. And you only 9 million. Half of that 9 million is Palestinians.
All right. So listen, they threw the first punch, so they were gonna get some of their ass kicked, man.
They got the whole ass kicked, not some. I
gotta see what you're seeing because I have, to me, I knew they were gonna get some casualties stuff. But I think
no, it's not a casualty because what Iran did, Iran weren't killing people. They were just knocking. They knock. Do you know the Weizmann Center is like the research. It's like the like what do they call it? Like the Silicon Valley, right? Of US. That's the Weizmann Center. They pumped it into. They messed it up, which means Israel cannot do research in Israel for the next 10 years.
Well, I don't know if that's true with American money. They're going to use your taxpayers' money to get that little fat.
I know they will, but it takes a long to get those things back again because they wiped out 70 years of research since
So,
1937.
okay, let's get to the brass tack, Ekene. So you were saying if it wasn't for us, Israel would have been in deep shit.
Oh, they would have been. Come on now. What? If it wasn't America, they wouldn't even throw a single punch at the first place.
There you go. I agree.
If it wasn't United States, right, Israel would not even be there today.
So you think that was one of the driving forces for Trump to try to?
Of course.
Okay.
No. The reason why Trump tried to end it is because this.
Okay.
There was, remember, right after the bomb, but although first, United States told them they were going to bomb. So they gave US right of part. Russia, when Trump contacted Russia and Iran about the bombing, Russia and Iran had a discussion and said, okay, Iran, don't use your, what do they call it, your air defense system to shoot 5,200 feet. No, 52,000 feet, because 52,000 feet can bring down the those big bombers, right? The B-52.
B-2s, yeah.
It can bring, it can bring it down. So they said, give right of way. Russia and Iran had a conversation. Russia told them, give right of way, so they can drop it. So the agreement was to drop it, and then Iran picked out where to drop those bombs. So they dropped it right where Iran said. And another agreement was after this, fire into Qatar. So what Trump was doing was to play Israel and said, these guys have been trying to get me to bomb Iran. I don't want to do that shit. But he coordinated with Russia about the bombing of Saturday, and then coordinated about the bombing of today, retaliation, right? Then when the retaliation was done, guess what? Trump announced and said, okay, all good, we're done. You see what I'm saying?
The Ayatollah could save face. That's
no,
why
it's not for Ayatollah. It's not for Ayatollah to save face. I got to tell you, we got to stop thinking that our narrative is actually how things are done. No, it's not how things are done in the defense industry.
So
What happened is that no. Let me tell you this: the Ayatollah had a, they've been planning to fight America for the past 25 years, not to fight Israel. You know what I'm saying? Because Israel is too little for them. But what they did was Ayatollah was going to bomb Israel they knew that Israel in 2 weeks or 3 weeks run out of ammunition because America can't supply them because of Ukraine war. America cannot be able to supply defense. That's the interceptors anymore. So their game was to bring it for the next 2 months, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And after that, they were going to bomb Israel for the next 6 months. You see what I'm saying? They were going to bomb Israel for the next 6 months. Ayatollah's dream was to make sure that the whole of Israel is unlivable. This man was talking about a few days ago. He said it, that I'm going to bomb them, that nobody will live in that country anymore. That's what he was trying to do.
Okay, so we know that he wants to destroy Israel, but what's the new news? I mean, where does he play in this all? Why is he agreeing to, now he came after Qatar, why is he going to stand down?
No, the agreement, this is the agreement. It's not the Ayatollah was agreeing. So there was a meeting that
but
held.
If he's not agreeing, then we don't have no agreement, though.
Let me, Mr. Penn, let me say what happened. After the bombing, right, this morning, the foreign minister of Iran went to Moscow.
Okay.
It's at Moscow that every discussion was made. So Putin tried to tamper everything down. That's why Putin told them, this is what is going to happen. Then they have to discuss with Americans. And that was where they then discuss about the ceasefire. And say, okay, let's get into ceasefire. You know why they said let's get into ceasefire? Because Prime Minister of Israel has been calling for the past 3 days for ceasefire since on Sunday.
Okay.
He's been calling since on Sunday for ceasefire.
You're not answering my question, though. They follow the Ayatollah. If he's not down for it, then it's not going to be a ceasefire.
No. He finally agreed. No, that's what I'm saying, that he didn't initiate the ceasefire. The ceasefire was initiated by the Israeli Prime Minister. I got to find my charger before my phone died.
You keep going. I just want to know one thing. Does the Ayatollah agree with all this shit? Yes or no?
No, he agreed finally. He finally agreed. I finally agreed.
Oh, that's what I want to know. And before
he finally agreed.
Let Kurt first. Thanks for the update, because you had a little different perspective, and I appreciate it. Go ahead, Coach first. What you got, man? Another military guy up here, man.
What's up, my man? What's up, y'all? How y'all doing, man?
All right.
Really, just to the topic, man. Yeah, if you throw it up in there and let it come down, see how it lands. It's I'm not. When I went to the Gulf War, right? The one thing that they used to always tell us is that if Israel ever got into a war, a conflict, Iran, Iraq, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, a lot of those countries around, although they had been at war, they would have sort of unified in a sense.
Okay.
But now you see it's different, right? Because Israel is supposed to be the holy grail that holds it all together. But now that they are actually participating themselves, then everything is scattered. So you see it's what is it, US, Iran, because remember Oliver North, our pain, you remember that.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? We was working with them over. We gave them all our stuff, like we do everywhere. Right. Anytime that we go and we step our foot on any soil.
On Contra did.
Yes, and we bring in our troops. At some point, we're going to bring in our technology and our supplies to bring them up to speed. That way, we can always have a diplomacy there. We can always have a stake in the ground over there. That's how America does, right? So today, the fact that he needs the minerals. They have certain minerals that's needed.
When you say he, who are you talking about?
Our president. We need the minerals to sort of sustain the new technology. So we need it.
Yeah, sure we do.
So the fact that he did it is a little surprising so soon because it wasn't like a drawn out process, but he did it quick. But to me, the resources that we're giving to the
Israel?
SSR and Ukraine,
the proxy war that we're in.
The resources that was given to that, you see that to me that outweighed this little, because the way I saw it on the news, they sent some, what are those stealth bombers? They sent 3 west out of Colorado. They sent three decoys west, and then sent the bombers, the ones that was going to actually do the damage to that area. So they was targeting nuclear sites.
Yeah, I mean okay, so yeah.
No, I'm just saying so, but that's it. Now everybody's coming to the table and want to have a conversation.
Since we've been on, that's why I haven't been able to get the latest news. I still got to see it for myself that the Ayatollah is telling the rest of his guys to stand down, because that means that that means if he was able to shoot some missiles at Qatar, he killed 3 American soldiers already in Jordan, right? Okay. Well, some of his proxies did that. Okay. But if that was enough, then I'm thinking he's just looking to save face. Because it doesn't make sense. What Ekene just said, it was like there was an agreement that even Iran was in on it to let's bomb your nuclear sites so America could be happy, but they moved the damn uranium from those sites. That's what I hear now. So that uranium is still out there. All right. So, but here's the thing I want to ask both of you guys, and with Ekene, if Trump pulls this shit off, right, where there's no real retaliation, no sleeper cell activity, none of that shit. What does that mean for Trump?
Teflon Don.
I'm praying according to who?
Well, I'm saying, what do you mean? According to who?
There is no sleeper cell. Okay, there is no sleeper cell.
Okay, hey, wait, hold on. Before you go down there, we'll get to you. What do you mean, Trey?
Because again, us welfare recipients, we still go find a way to say he's a bad guy.
Oh, I don't care about the Trump.
What I'm saying is, and I'm being facetious. I'm just being silly. But however, right, he learned a lot from his first time.
Oh,
He
yeah, no
learned a
doubt.
lot. He learned a
The
lot.
best
He
thing that
knew,
ever
like,
happened to him was not getting reelected back then.
yes, he knew now coming forward what needs to happen for, I guess, the world to sort of be a little bit more open. You know, not just so. Okay. Just to answer your question specifically, what it means for Trump is that if he's able to pull off what he's saying he's trying to do, he could probably go down as one of the greatest presidents based off the majority, but the minority can always say he's the worst because he's taking away from the welfare and the people with their hands out. Get y'all lazy asses outside, get a job, get your kids a job. If you're 35 working at a restaurant, get the hell out of the restaurant. Let your kids get the restaurant job because that's who it was meant for at first. Get out here. You can join the service. If they start recruiting, you're 35 and over, you ain't doing shit. You got about 6 months in you. Get over, do something. Other than that, no more free handouts for no nigga 21 to 41. Everybody work. Everybody work. If you don't want to work, show me your disability papers. Yes, we're going to give you a little check, give you some food. But if your ass can work, smoke weed, drink, shake it on the table, everybody twerking, get out here, volunteer, salute to all the soldiers. Y'all do a great job. Everybody else, shut the hell up unless you're going to volunteer. That's all I got.
I hear you, man. So, Ikene, give me back. Let's go about don't sleep with yourself. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna sleep on it.
You said don't sleep with yourself.
No sleep assault. No sleep
Why you say
assault.
that? Why you say that?
The reason why I tell you that is that you gotta understand that American foreign policy is far deeper than you think. In the sense that they make up things. When they deal with you, I'm a foreigner, right? So I know the effect of
I think I know
American.
that. Go ahead.
I know the effect of American foreign policy than most of you, in the sense
Okay.
that we are on the receiving end, so we are on the other side. You guys are here facing the media, listening to what the media is telling you, but whereas we the one that will tell you no, the media is lying. Because the thing is, they demonize Iran. They say all these things about Iran. Iran have their bullshit going on. You see what I'm saying? They have their bullshit. But they say all these bad things about Iran, and you that have never been there believe it because that's what they want to sell to you. You got to understand that America has the most clandestine cell, and that's when it comes to covert operation, when it comes to misinformation and all these things. CIA is badass. Like they will say things that will make your stomach turn, and you'll be like, I never did this shit. They will say you did it.
Hold
What
on.
I'm trying to say is this, right? There is no sleeper cell here for Iran,
Okay, so
but they do have.
Well, hold on. Just stay right there. For you to definitively say that there's no sleeper cells, where do you get that information from? Because I would submit, I would submit to you, in the 20 million people that came across the border in the last 4 years, I think it's harder to believe that there aren't sleeper cells than there are. I mean, I know America. I know this is part of the propaganda to get people scared. I agree with you there. But that's to say, and sleeper cell, we kind of think of the movies and shit like that. But they got some nefarious actors here in America. Didn't they just have one in Louisiana? Wasn't it just an Iranian dude down in Louisiana who did the parade?
Guess what? Let me say this to you, Mr. Penn.
Yeah.
If you're a white America, right? And you're in Nigeria, and Nigeria is doing some bullshit to America, and you don't work for the U.S. government, you're just somebody that love America so much, you can turn into a sleeper cell. You can do some things bad to Nigeria because you don't feel happy what Nigeria is doing to America. If a United States is doing something bad to Iran, and there are Iranians here, just like during the Second World War, you know how the Japanese people went through all that thing, and some of them reacted, most of them was put in cells. That is what always happens. Somebody will become a sleeper, will become somebody that will do some things to a country that they believe is doing something bad to their people. You see what
Good
I'm
night.
saying? Especially when you have cousins that got killed
So
by
you're just
American
saying
bomb.
you're saying it's not state sponsored. It's just the
It's
individual who
not.
might go.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's not state sponsored. So individuals who
Oh,
react, just
So
like the
that is
Egyptian guy.
so you now make that a statement that is hard to believe. You're saying that people have the ability to do it on their free will, but
Yes.
an intelligence agency wouldn't utilize their resources to do the same thing that someone would do for free.
Yeah,
That's what you're
somebody
telling me right now?
no. They can do it, but you got to understand that what you pay to do and what you do out of your loyalty to your country are two different things. You see what I'm saying? Those are the ones that are not dictatable.
Okay,
If
so
somebody like you right now reacts out of your own personal will, something must have built up that make you to do that. But if you paid to do it, usually you can get caught. You see what I'm saying?
I do
Yeah,
understand
you
what you're
can get
saying.
caught
I
because of
do
it,
understand.
because of internet. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but again, this is an intelligence agency of a country that would take people and train them for the specific purpose of not being detected living a lie, for the intention of one day being a call to say, "Hey, big dog, today, homie." Like that is a very high potential.
Okay, let me say this to you, right? Do countries have intelligence officer, people that can do damage to another country all over the world? Yes, they do.
How many
But
countries does the United States have a military base in right now?
military base almost all over the country, almost all the countries, except the ones that are not in agreement with the US, like rivals, like China, Russia, those ones, Cuba, the ones that you actually Cuba, United States
they got
have a
Guantanamo
base
Bay.
there. They
Yeah,
have Guantanamo
Guantanamo
Bay.
Bay.
What am I talking about?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to tell you is this, right? Countries do have intelligence officer embedded in their embassies around the world. Countries do have that. But Iran and United States do not have embassies in both countries. So Iran's to have a sleeper cell here. Yes, they will have sleeper cell, but it's not something, it's something so tangible. Because number one, Iran is not fighting America to terrorize America. They just want the what do they call it? The sanction lifted so that they can do business.
Mm-hmm.
But since the sanction is not being lifted, now they're going towards this, they're joining BRICS. And America now is freaking out because BRICS now is going to make life far easy for Iran. Now Iran is going to make money because they don't need the American market that much because of BRICS, right? And
Yeah,
that's why all these things are falling apart now.
I think
They're
you're
not,
giving
let me
too
say
much
this real quick. Let
credit.
me say this real quick before you guys
ain't
continue.
take the short road. He can ain't take the short road, man.
Yeah, let me take the short. Let me take the short one in 30 seconds. 30 seconds, I promise you.
That's
America is
15.
not fighting. America 15. I'll do it. America is not fighting Iran. This war is not about Iran. Israel is not attacking Iran because of Iran. No, this is about Russia and China. It has nothing to do with Iran. They want to stop the Silk Road, but the Silk Road.
You know what? Okay, so listen. You know what? We're swapping one conspiracy theory for another. Yes, that's what we're doing here today. You know, I mean, Iran has been our enemy for 45 years. They've killed a lot of Americans over the years. It's just by proxy and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's kind of still sweet that we knocked out, even if they're not even trying to build a bomb. They don't want them. They want it to be controlled outside of the hierarchy in Iran, because they should be able to have basic nuclear power for the things that we take for granted these days. But we can't trust them with the nuclear material themselves. It's as simple as that. So, I hear you. So you said before you go, you said the Silk Road.
The Silk Road, Silk Road is the oldest. Silk Road is the oldest route for trade that China built almost 4,000 years ago.
All right. So before you go down that
But
path,
now,
I'll look it up.
I'm coming. But now they are renewing the Silk Road. They're building it. Mr. Plain, if you don't know all these things, how can we go into a full-time discussion, man? You see, that's why you guys are listening to selective media. Come on, man.
Hold on for a second. You know, listen. That first of all, I don't need to have to know everything about the goddamn Silk Road. That's why I'm asking
You're supposed to know these things if you want to talk about foreign policy, man. Come on, man. You can't even. If you can know these things, right, you can discuss foreign policy. That's why you're always going by the narrative that they're selling to you, brother.
Let me tell you something. That's the biggest crock of shit I ever heard, because you don't know everything about stuff either. And that doesn't mean you can't talk
I know a lot about foreign policy, brother.
You know what you know, but you don't know everything. So I
don't know. I don't know everything, but something like Silk Road, BRICS, those things are things you gotta know.
I didn't say I didn't know about BRICS.
But if you know BRICS is all about Silk Road.
I don't think BRICS is as big as an issue as you making it out to be.
Man, it's a big issue.
I don't think it's as big as you make it out. I mean, you don't want
it. It is a big issue, man. It's the biggest, it's the largest economy today.
Talking about BRICS all the time is you. Nobody else is killing.
You're supposed to know about it, brother.
BRICS.
Okay, you know what? I got to tell you this thing, right? When I talk about foreign policy, I want to talk foreign policy, and you got to know foreign policy to discuss foreign policy.
You don't have to know everything about foreign policy. If you were smart, you would say, "Well, at least I can be a teacher a little bit." If you don't know, but to tell somebody if you don't know every goddamn detail, everybody doesn't know every detail about everything. You know what I'm saying? But anyhow, I'll forgive just unprecedented low blow attack. And we could. I hear what you're saying, but go ahead. What you gonna say, Coach?
No, I have a question for Ikene, right?
Here we go.
Okay, so Ikene, you mentioned silver. What did you call it? The silver what?
Silk Road. Silk
Road. Okay. So Ikene again.
Spell it. What'd you say? It's not silk. What's it?
Silk.
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 So the fabric, right? Yeah. Okay, so
because Chinese produce, they started producing a lot of
stuff. Okay, yes. In your shortest answer, what could you explain what that road is?
Okay, I will. I'm going to start, but it's short. Don't think it's long. Over 4,000 years ago, the Chinese built. They built a road.
I got it.
Yeah.
You right on point. Okay, so here's the thing.
But now they ruined the road again.
Here's the thing. 40 years ago, prevalent. They're not using silk like that anymore in the United States. So it's not.
That is not what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is, yes, that's a resource. That's a natural resource of that country. And yes, it was a time when we were looking
Mr. Peg, it's not what you're calling it. The Silk Road now is not the same Silk Road then. It's not. But it was created 4,000 years ago. But guess what? Over 35 years ago, they renewed the Silk Road, but their Silk Road is now not to move silk. It's to move Chinese manufacturing all over the world to export their things through land, not through
sea. It's a metaphor now. Okay.
Yeah, it's a metaphor now.
Okay.
But it's actually a road.
So my thinking is this, right? So my thinking is it's a clear understanding that definitely in the United States, foreign policy is not a part of conversation. Like it's not a.
It's not. No, it's not. You're right.
Conversation about foreign policy, right? So now we're doing this thing where we're trying to get people into foreign policy, and when we're talking about this particular Israel-Iran thing, before you even add the complexities of the Silk Road and all going on with this one,
I got Mr. Penn confused about it, right?
I'm not confused.
No. I'm just saying, even in the sense of like just the simple fact that if you look at the presidency in America, all the way back to JFK, Iran not having nuclear weapons is a specific running topic on both sides of the party.
That's right.
Bill Clinton has ran and said he's willing to apply pressure to Iran if they want to start doing it. Obama did it. The other Clinton did it. Joe Biden did. All of them. George Bush, everybody on both sides. Trump did it the first time. He did it again the second. Everybody
it's an American foreign policy.
This country has ran on the policy of Iran should not have nuclear weapons. So now because Trump decided to pull it out and put it on the table and say, no, y'all not going to have nuclear weapons. Now it's this thing where people are trying to overcomplicate this and make it something more difficult than it needs to be. Like, I'm not saying that what you're saying, I'm not telling you that what you're saying is wrong, because I do see that there is a possibility of Russia playing Iran to get us to start fucking with us. Like, that's why I keep saying that this can escalate a lot quicker. Like, this can escalate very fucking fast, because I do see that there is the potential for that. But in order to get people to just be a part of the conversation and have an understanding of what's going on, I think that this particular thing within itself already has enough complexities to kind of get people in the direction of wanting to have the conversation without even having to add that in there.
But watch, look at it this way, right? It's too late now. Because once those missiles were exchanged, right? That when that gun leaves the barrel, it can goes back, right? Am I correct? Iran is going to have nuclear weapon, and I'll tell you why. Iran, few years ago, was told by North Korea, if you get a nuclear weapon, America will leave you alone. There is something called fatwa. Fatwa was placed by the Ayatollah, right? The Ayatollah placed the fatwa saying that no, Iran will never have nuclear weapons, thinking that America was going to take that. But America said no. So now that this exchange of missiles and have exchanged, right? Iran will have that nuclear weapon, because to them they've come to understand that if we had gotten it, they would never shoot a single missile. America will never be crazy to shoot a missile to North Korea today. They know what is going to happen, right? That's the same way Iran is going to end up having it.
But that's the
And
same
I'm
reason.
telling you guys, they will have it.
Well, that's just you saying it. I'm saying that's the exact reason why they don't want Iran to have the weapon, because
But it's too late. It's too late now.
Ekene, you said your part. That's exactly the same reason why they don't want them to have the weapon, because they don't want to have another country that's rogue, that can go rogue any moment. Like, listen, North Korea has been selling wolf tickets for a lot of years, but the way their country is, that's why South Korea is under constant threat. That's why we have a lot of soldiers there and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why they let North Korea have a nuclear bomb. It's a different time now. Hold on for a second, man. You talk a lot. With Iran, they don't want another country with a nuclear bomb. It's as simple as that. And especially the Ayatollah, people would say that America is their sworn enemy. They don't have anything to send it to get us to us, but they do have a continental ballistic program they're trying to get off the ground. And of course, they want to destroy Israel. They've been saying that shit for decades. So if they get a nuclear bomb, it's just not going to happen. I mean, that's the point. America's not going to let that happen. It's just not. So yeah, you say they might eventually get it, but give me your eventually. When? Next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years? What are you talking about?
Let me say this, right? They have a lot of underground facility that are scattered all over that country, and all those underground facilities are specialized for certain material of the nuclear bomb, right? And and they're at 60% right now of uranium purity.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Which means
we hear that.
from 60% to 90% can be done within anywhere between 2 weeks and 2 months, depending on the availability of uranium. So
if you have the facilities to do it.
No, they have the facilities.
How do you know they have the facilities? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Mr. Penn, you're saying it.
I'm not guessing.
You're guessing, man.
Because it's established. Mr. Penn, let me talk, okay? It's established.
You've been talking.
Iran, hold on. Iran said that they have it. IAEA said they have it. Russia said they have it. Everybody confirmed that they have it.
They just blew up the 3 facilities that they had it at.
No, they do not. They didn't blow up nothing.
All right, so you're
those are the surface. Those are surface. Even Trump today. I'm coming, Mr. Penn. CNN today, because go and look at the what CNN and Time Warner said that pissed Trump off, that made him to send out a tweet. They said that nothing was blown up. It was just the entrance and exit that was blown up. That's it. The underground facility, guess what? It was all all intact.
No.
That's what they found out.
Hold on for a second. They said that Israel's bombs only destroyed the exit and the entrance, not the bunker busters we just sent this weekend.
No, the bunker buster destroyed the exit and entrance. Mr. Penn,
Listen, I heard that
please
same
send me
quote. I heard
your
that
phone
same
number.
quote. I
Mr.
think
Penn,
you heard,
okay.
I heard that same quote you said. Go find it, and I'll put it
Mr.
on right
Penn,
now. Go find it, and I'll put it on. Go get the quote, and I'll put it on right now. I heard Israel's first attack couldn't go any deeper than the entrances and exits. I heard that.
Israel first attack hit the buildings, not the nuclear materials.
Okay.
The United States didn't even touch the nuclear material.
Okay, hold on.
Israel bombing did not only blow out the surface. America went underground, but it didn't even come anywhere close to the nuclear material. I'm coming. In construction,
they might have moved the nuclear.
They moved it, not that they might have. It was all moved.
Hold on now. That's different than saying the bunker busters didn't work. That's different than saying the bunker busters didn't work.
Right.
They didn't work.
No.
That's different. That's a different argument. That's two different arguments.
If they moved,
let me tell you why it didn't work.
Listen. I don't know. You listen. Just listen. Okay. So let's say it's in Arpane's house today. Arpane gets intel that it's going to be something coming his way. He's going to send them to me. Arpane understands what's getting ready to happen. So Arpane, he sends the supply to me, plus he bunkers out. He leaves this place. It's already coming. So when it comes, ain't nothing there but what's left there.
Yeah, well, the facility is
it
there.
happened.
The centrifuges are there.
The facility was damaged, but as far as
let me tell you guys why it didn't work. Let me tell you why it didn't work.
We know it didn't work because they moved it already.
No. Not only that. I'll tell you why it didn't work. The first reason why it didn't work was because number one, the bunker buster can only hit halfway to actual location of the facility. The facility is about 200 feet deep underground, and each bunker buster can only burst about 75 feet. So for you to hit that,
how many did
I'm
they
coming.
hit?
It doesn't matter how many. For you to, let me tell you why. That's my second thing I want to say. Let me say the second one. The second one is for you to actually blow up that facility, right? You have to have what they call sustained bombing that can take up to 2 to 3 days of sustained bombing hitting the same place. They only threw 6 and left. You can't do that. And it's only one drop.
Hold on for a second. You keep talking all this stuff, right? Maybe they weren't successful, but let's just talk about it. You said
that's what I said.
Hold on. This is your assumption it didn't work. There's nothing. I haven't heard one thing that said it didn't work. I heard they might have moved the material, but if one bunker buster can go 75 feet, then 3 can go 225 feet.
So Ikene, hold on, Ikene, you're on mute. Good. How far did you say those facilities was on the ground? How far are those facilities on the ground? How far? 200 feet?
Yeah. That's what he said.
Feet?
Yeah.
Now they're saying that those missiles can go 200 feet on the ground, but typically about 60 feet reinforced concrete. So it is what it is, man.
You're on mute.
Yeah, good. You're on mute.
Oh, Coach Feg, God bless you. That's what I was going to say. You know what? After now, you're talking about about 60 to about 40 to 60 feet of reinforced concrete, and not only that, Mr. Penn, you are an engineer. I don't know if you did construction. When you do reinforced concrete in an underground, it's done in a triangular form.
Okay.
So in that triangular form, when something hits it, it deflects. So that's why you have to have sustained bombing. Because each bomb that comes out when it starts hitting the reinforced concrete, right? They start deflecting. They're not doing anything.
I know you want to keep talking, right? They said they hit those things with I think 3 to 6 bombs in the same location.
No.
Wait a minute. Wait a second, man. You want to keep talking? I heard what you said. But you know, I mean, I know you want to be hell bent on being right, but listen, the point is, I haven't heard anything that they didn't get to those facilities other than you saying they didn't do it. I mean, we've been on this thing for like 3 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and do some more research. If you come back on, I say, okay, Ekene, you're right. They didn't do shit. This was all bull.
Please do the research
Well,
because
right now,
I'm gonna like us to have this conversation again.
well, you know, I mean, because you ain't bringing no receipts other than what you're saying though.
Yeah,
You got to
don't worry.
come with your. Hold on, you got to come with your receipts.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna come with a lot,
Not just
a
because
whole
what you're
lot,
saying.
a whole
You know,
lot.
hey, listen, I got the controls. I'll put
You
it.
better
I'll
have a
put it on.
video.
I'll put
No,
it on.
yeah. And Mr. Penn, let me ask you a quick question. When is the
Yes,
next
sir.
time that
Hey,
you're
you
holding
know
this?
what?
When is the next
You
time?
see the hatred in the Mr. Payne he's giving me.
No, I would love this, man. When is the next time you're going to discuss this?
I'm here every Monday.
Okay. Next
But
Monday,
I don't know if it's going to
there
be
will
the
be a
same.
whole lot of
Hold on.
news.
I don't know if it's going to be the same topic. But if you come with some receipts and
Oh
hey,
yeah, I
by
will.
then, but hold on for a second. By then, after I get off and hear some more news, I might say, you know what, FLA, you were right. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
you got the little get rid of the.
Let me get off because these guys. Let me get off. I'll call you guys back later.
Yo, man, a good conversation. Though. We'll catch up, man. If we got some receipts,
No
if I'm
problem.
wrong, I'll be wrong.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
The soup,
Okay,
bro,
guys.
man. I take it easy, man.
She's growing really fast, right?
Yes, man.
Yeah,
Some
she's
baby
big,
girls,
man.
man.
You guys
Salute to
remember the
all the
day she
babies.
was born, right?
Yeah, we do.
Salute to all the
Yeah.
babies,
We do.
man.
And
Yeah,
you
I
see
salute to
that?
all
know.
the babies.
Well, hey,
I know.
that goat milk is pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Ikene, I'm glad your baby don't got a big old lumpy head like
Yes,
you
you
got.
know. Thank
Oh, she
God.
does. She does.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
All right, man. Take it
That's why I don't need to do DNA test, you know.
Because she got them same lumps she got. It's crazy.
We'll talk to you
Okay,
later.
guys.
All right.
Okay, bye.
It's crazy.
Oh, Jesus. You know what, man? I don't even know. He might have some points there, but he's talking like he got the data in his hands and shit, man. I hate to even be defending Trump and those guys. I got to see because maybe they really messed up and they still got their program going, but I don't know. But anyhow, any final words? Anybody got some more, any final words, Coach Berg?
I mean, I sort of caught the show sort of the last little 30 minutes when Trey was talking, man. Military guys, it's a different perspective in a sense, especially older guys that's already been in and out. You know what I'm saying? What I appreciate about that mindset is that it's like I don't lose mindset. You see what I'm saying? So it pays off when you start to see that in your life. It pays off, brother. Like you are paying. You like, ain't no motherfucker help me. I did that shit my goddamn self. You know what I'm saying? But the guys that went to the military and understood it a little bit, and I ain't gonna necessarily say the military, but had some things that they worked through in life and it turned out in their favor. You know what I'm saying?
No, military has been good for a lot of people, a lot of men, a lot of women, man.
But it gives you I think if you go in and do your little time, your little enlistment, get your armor discharge, it does you a great benefit. It gives you, a lot of guys find their way, and it's good because they have a no-lose attitude. I don't lose. I win. And whatever path they choose in life, whether they working, construction, you know what I'm saying, whether they being a chef, a cook, and they had that type of, pushing, for the most part, it's successful. Guys got disarmed, discharged. They was something was going on, or they just said fuck it and was stupid. They couldn't give up the BS of life. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man,
right.
the fact that this is war, though. I mean, when I you see this, I was a private, man. I was a private. I went straight to the Gulf War, straight out of basic training, and once I did my AIT, I went straight December, I was running along the Persian Gulf. I wasn't scared, but the first thing I did when I got off the plane there, I kissed the ground and said, I'm going to make it back home. When I saw people and I was talking with people who lived in that region, I learned a lot about the world itself. My perspective is probably a different approach than most people, right? but I still respect people, and I respected that region. I saw how it was a different run. It was clean. It was immaculate. I saw jet ships every 20 minutes filled with missiles and bombs going out. Come back, they empty. I saw clouds of smoke for 30 days over my head where Hussein set the oil wells on fire. And we went over and capped it off and took all our little money, our resources. And when you in those zones, because the military is self-sustaining. That's what people misunderstand.
Well, self-sustaining without taxpayer dollars.
No, because the military is self-sustaining because it does this, our pain. Everybody works in the military. There's nobody over talking about I gotta get my check on the weekend. You working for that. Ain't no, you know what I'm saying? Every soldier is working their job, whether it's supply, driving the truck.
I agree.
Not everybody goes to fight. Not everybody goes to fight.
Not. Yeah, I know that. I know.
But
the logistics footprint is much larger than the fighting force. There's no doubt about it.
But that's the beauty of it, though, because if you can apply that concept to regular life, you always win. You always. I ain't met a military guy yet that if he understood he's good right now. He's working. He ain't complaining. He might complain like, "Damn, I got to work," but he know what the end goal is.
No, I agree.
Oh, shit, the brainwash been working.
The military has been great for a lot more people than it hasn't been.
Brainwashing when you get. Did you get brainwashed when you listen to people tell you can't do shit all your life? That shit brainwashing right there. They teach you how to survive. I didn't carry my weapon one time in the Gulf War. I was right there. I was there when they bombed the barracks, everything. We were shooting ball outside. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just went through that. I got some cakes over in the Gulf War out there on the desert. I lived on the desert for 5 months. I seen a Scud missile in the air. When I came back, I said I'd never be a ninja again in America. I'm gonna be a free man. As ugly as I was, I took on that. I finished up my school. I got my certifications. I just said, let me just go help people, and that shit paid off, bro.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. Hey, listen, man. Hopefully this conflict. I mean, of course, you wish for the best, man. But once the bullets fly, man, like you said, you never know where they're gonna end up being. It's just where we
gotta stop crying. Everybody better find somebody they can grab with and get their arsenal together. Get your MREs up. Stop spending money on the bullshit. Stop spending money on the bullshit. Get your 5.56s up. Get 12s. Hey, but okay.
5.56, 7.62s. Let's go.
Don't waste them on nobody. Just behold them.
What about you? 100, man? What you got? I thought there was a they came here and tried to school all of us on foreign policy down to the last digit shit. But that's my guy, man. It's cool. What you got, man? On it? I think we talked about it. What I wanted to pull off was, and I'll let you go in terms of talking about something other than male-female bullshit, man. It's like real shit that's going on out there. I think even if it's cocktail knowledge, we got to know what our soldiers are into. And I'm glad you picked up on the parody one, the pick book lessons put out there, because in downtime, you should be able to cut loose, man. That doesn't mean you ain't going to be ready when you need to be. So, but go ahead, man. What you got?
I think that situations like these are definitely easy to overplay, right? Because the idea of any operative of America is to have everybody in country dismantled and given misinformation. Like it's very easy to let these things become super dramatic. This is just another situation where you do see how divided the country is on even just protecting itself. Just the idea of protecting itself and how divided that idea is.
Right.
The next couple of days, while we were live, they did. It was announced that he did do a ceasefire, so we'll see how that goes, and just See how things unfold. You just can't be too ready to just stand in one stance. You're like, fuck it, we're going to war. Like, calm down, slow down. It's okay. You know, drink some water, take a knee. All right, take a fucking break, and let's figure out what's going on first before we just start jumping out the window and ready to start acting a fool. So I think this was a great conversation. I enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, I think it was pretty cool,
a developing conversation.
Yeah, because it still ain't over. We might maybe we might have to have a part 2. I don't know. You know, because especially now that some developments are happening that might change some of the conversation. So I might just go ahead and say to BMU, we're gonna throw up another part to see where we at in a week, because that might make sense. Unless you got something else that you have in mind there, 100. If you don't have one now, you can send me an email.
No, I was about to do some research and find out when his next 100 days is over with.
It's August 8th. I'm already putting some stuff together. It's August 8th.
Yeah, so we already got this. So we got time. So seeing how
we
this
got some
unfolds,
time. Yeah, because I'm putting some stuff together for 200 days myself. So we might be on lock sync for that. Yeah, that's why I knew it so much. I already researched August 8th. Anyway, all right. Listen, I'll probably go back and say, hey, let's relook at this same title part 2 and see where we're at, because there's going to be some differences. And I hope Economic pops back up with some more receipts and stuff, and hopefully we meet his educational level and shit, Professor Ike. Other than that, listen, I do some political lives on my political reactions to certain things. I do those live on my channel. So I do have a new channel, the Unique Sports Talk, which is an hour before BMU's on Wednesday. So I do those, and then I have my music channel. I have the theme-based music for all those music things I have. So I just throw out just 2-3 minute videos with a thumbnail that gives you an idea what the song is going to be about. So me and my 3 subscribers are listening to that one. So it's a new channel. So we'll see. I'm trying to do all the right things with those channels. I'm trying to take some of the I have so many different things on my main channel that the algorithm pretty much doesn't know where to put the shit, So I'm trying to say, if I focus a couple others, maybe I'll have more luck. Who knows? Other than that, I'm playing around, man. I got time on my hands right now. Knock on wood. I'm trying to make the best of it. So anyway, thanks, gentlemen. Thanks, folks in the chat. I see Robert Watkins just popped up. Some of your folks came over. 100. Trey coming up, Leonard his thing. Coach Ferg, Ikene, thank you. And Nissa coming on early, even before the show starts. She had we didn't talk about the 22-year-old my man hired as anti-terrorism stuff, but we'll wait to see where he's at next Monday. Anyway, guys, I appreciate y'all coming up. All right, later on.
We did get out of here. Shout out to Pops. I've been working on production behind the scenes. Pops knows best. Y'all make sure you subscribe to Finesse Visions. We about to be getting back active. I got some intro music and videos and stuff I've been working on. Pops has been very adamant about me working on the production of this show, and I have been working on that.
Okay.
He is definitely pushing me to get better at doing what it is that I'm doing and my vision that I have going forward. So, Pops, I love you. I appreciate you.
What's up, Pops? Yeah. What's up, Pops?
You will have to get on.
Hell yeah, black man. Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Any else? Is that anything else? 100.
Salute to Pops.
All right, gentlemen. Hey, good night, man. Nice. Actually, this was a pretty good one. I appreciate you guys being up here. Later.